All right. Why is it asking for the video? I already gave it the video ID. It shouldn't be asking for the video, but I don't know why. This is the hard part about this. If I'm going to do multiple video pages, I have to fix my chapter thing so it can determine the video, which it already is supposed to be able to do. So that's a little bit annoying. All right, I'm grumpy because I'm dealing with YouTube. In case you're wondering, I'll be doing a lot more shorter videos. I'm not going to edit them. I'm just going to stop. You registered your nick? Nice. And there's going to be bigger pauses, and when I go on breaks and stuff, longer breaks, I'm just going to drop the stream. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and drop the stream. So, pretend like none of that happened, and go back to Git. Man, Git. Actually, we did it already. We got a couple things going on here. I didn't even remember where's I was. So if you're just wondering what we're doing here, we are covering Git, and I've been suggested to me to go through the man page, which is one of the best resources, and that way it's available every time I want to use Git. And I know Git, but I'm not a Git connoisseur, and so I'm preparing some notes on that. I started up some notes in my RWX Rob Notes Git repo under my main repo on GitHub. This is my goal. I want to take my rebasing, merging, branching, squashing, and versioning up a notch. Maybe stashing as well. Somebody mentioned that, so that's worth adding. I used to read man pages. Why would you use a tool to read man pages? Why? That is, I'm not understanding something. Use man to read man pages. Duh. Oh my god. I have to keep making content if that shit's out there. Why would you not use anything but man pages? I mean, but man on the system. I'm just blown away that video ever got made. Using the terminal and man is not sufficient. Therefore, here are the following top 10 tools to read man pages. Hey, I laughed. Oh my god. What is going on, people? What is going on? People that use your own thing, use whatever you want to, but my god. I have never been more motivated to make content. I don't give a shit if people see it. I want them to see it, or they like it, but I have never been more motivated to make content. Because the stuff that is out there. Oh god. Alright, so TIL, or actually yesterday I learned, so what is that? YIL. So YIL, that git cached is a thing, and git commit -a is a thing, even though I would never do it. We were actually pretending. We had a really fun experiment. It was really, let me net out the experiment for you. We did an experiment where, like, for say I forgot to do a -a, I'm going to do commit again without a -a. We also did an experiment where what happens if you deleted your .git repo, and you had to get repo on GitHub already, but you didn't want to remake it because it's a pain in the ass to like make a new one or rename it and all that. And what if you just wanted to just reuse an existing Git repo, which is not a completely unusable scenario. Maybe you started out a repo like last night. So 2 days ago, I started out a keg repo, right? And under the keg repo, I had KN, and I wanted to break out the KN tool into its own repo, which I did. but that meant that I wanted to pretty much make keg over again, because all the stuff in it, any of the history and the commits and everything were irrelevant, and I wasn't going to be able to display the move of that content into another repo. And it didn't really need a history because it was a relatively new project. So I was like, okay, I don't want to go delete and remake, which I can now do from the command line, thank God. But I didn't want to delete and rename and make a new GitHub site or GitHub repo. So I want to just reuse this. Can I do this? Turns out the answer is yes. And it's a very destructive method of doing it, and it's not recommended, which is why you have to use -F for it. But it was super cool that I was able to do that. What I did was and everybody yelled and screamed bloody murder, like, what are you doing? Don't teach people this. Children will die and all this. And I was like, you know what? This is a situation where it's totally okay to do this. And so I deleted the .git repo, and don't interrupt your Git chat for at the downside of less. All right. Yeah. I use syntax highlighting for man, and it works just fine. That's maybe a fun reason to do it, but I still think it's silly. I agree with man pages that have color. Anyway, which is what I have. I have color syntax highlighting. Yay. It takes 4 environment variables. It's not that hard. So I bet he doesn't even know how to do that. As most. So, I mean, if you're going to cover man pages, you should at least show people how to color man pages. Another on the same topic though, on the Git thing. So if we're doing Git, then the way you can do it is you can just delete the .git repo, and that's when people say that, you know, children die, and, you know, unicorns die in foreign lands. Every time you delete your .git repo, you know, someone will die. It's a horrible thing to do. You're a Nazi. I mean, a million things, you know. But the truth is, nobody gives a shit if it's just a brand new repo and you're kind of reorganizing. And here's the cool thing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're probably part of XCX. So, you know, everybody freaks the fuck out on it. I'm sorry, that was just the thing that I said. I take the Nazi comment back, if that makes you feel better. And there's nothing wrong with it. You can, as long as you know what you're doing, there's nothing wrong with it. So I removed .git, and then I did git init again, and I repushed with the -F, and guess what? I was able to reuse my Git repo with a brand new, fresh code set that was taken from the other thing without any, and I blew away all the history. And as far as GitHub knew, and as far as my local repo knew, it was a brand new Git repo. Shoot me. You know, it was wonderful. It was absolutely brilliant. And fast, and the kind of thing that I'm fine with as long as I know what's going on. So the alternative to that would have been at least like 15 commands involving rebase and a bunch of shit, and I wouldn't have forgot it anyway. I had to look it up. I just, you know, so it's not something you should do all the time, obviously, but I just wanted to mention that. That was the other big thing was cached. And I'm gonna practice that again because I need to refresh my memory because I don't do it very often. But the takeaway was you need to be able to see shit. And so have somebody had any X on Twitch. You can see stuff see shit, see whatever. I'll change this to stuff so it's family friendly. Does that make you happy? See stuff. So there's 2 things going through the man page that everyone, and I'm going to recap what everyone else has told me, since I'll probably be blocked for my yesterday's video as well, because reasons. So there's 2 real general things. The one that somebody kindly wrote up a thing for me on is the modes. So you have working or working tree, you have staged, you have committed, and you have pushed. And if you can think of your content, you know, your code, whatever it is you're putting in Git, you can think of it. It doesn't have to be just code, by the way. In that stage, that's the biggest thing you can take away. Everyone says they use Maggot, which they have a Vim version again, and some people recommend Maggot all the time, but they're Emacs users, and just no, not using Emacs. You can use it. That's fine. Go have fun. Yeah, Maggot in org mode. Somebody suggested that's the only reason Emacs is around. I'm like, that's kind of strong statement. But it's good. Share your insights, please, because we want people to see maybe they do use that thing and they can use it. We talked about the 4 levels of Git usage, and which I'm going to now say is 4 levels instead of 3. We have like a 2.5. Let me rehash that. Okay, so I don't use Git at all. I just put code up on a staging server and preview it before I copy it someplace else, and I back it up by making a copy to a disk drive. That's Gitless. I use Git, but I have a script that does all the hard stuff for me called save, or I use VS Code and just click on a few buttons and I have no idea what's going on. And I barely know how to use the terminal. Stage 2. There's stage 3, which is I regularly use git commit, git status, git init, and the GH tool from the command line. All of this stuff is wonderful, but I am lost when it comes to branching, merging, squashing, and rebasing. That's me right now. And then there's Git Lord, which is they can do everything. They can rebase, they can move stuff around, and they're used to using multi-team. They can answer questions like when I when I merge a branch, should I rebase it or should I squash during the merge, and why it's. You can answer the question that Lunmar answered really well. Is like, what's the difference between git merge -- squash and going through a git rebase and then a merge without a squash? And someone said, well, that gives you more granularity in your squash. That kind of conversation is a level 4 Git wizard. And I want to be that. So that's why I'm going through the man page. So hopefully that gives you the overview of where we are. The reason that I haven't got there yet, I'm barely at level 3, is because I have been working with beginners. And when you work with beginners, like absolute beginners, some of them as young as 9, throwing Git at them is a problem. That's why Replit exists, because there's people don't want to deal with setup. They don't want to even learn the terminal and LS and stuff. They just want to start editing code, and they don't think any of those things are required. But when I mentor people, the terminal is the first thing we learn, literally the first thing we learn, and then we build on that. So that's my style of mentoring and content. And based on that, Git needs to come in there at some point. I've discarded VS Code as a way to get around the problem of using Git. I've also discarded my own save script that I had kids use, which just filled in a comment and used Git as a backup system. I've discarded that as well now, so that anybody who's here, including 10-year-olds, are using Git init and all that other stuff, and Git config and all that, which is, you need to learn it, to get to level 3. And then I'm doing nothing but level 3 work, and I want to start doing nothing but level 4 work, which means not making any changes unless you make a branch, that kind of shit. So that's what we're going to go for. And we won't debate whether or not using terminal first is the way for every technologist on planet Earth. We've concluded not every technologist needs the terminal, but it gets kind of dicey when you're talking about web development and stuff like that, because anything that involves Git needs a terminal. In fact, in order to distribute Git to everyone, the gitscm.org site has to bundle Linux, a Linux shell. It's one of the best ways to get bash, by the way. Before WSL existed, it's absolutely the best way to get bash on a Windows system. Still pretty damn good way to do it. And you could run Git bash or Git SCM, and they gave you a full bash environment just to use Git, because you can't use Git. Git's a command line tool primarily, and that you just need to buy off on that. So I think that's been a pretty big overview of the beginning of how this has happened and where it's going, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, so we'll move on from there. Make websites also as development. Yeah. I still believe you should learn the terminal, even if you're a basic web designer. You should still learn it. I do. Do you have to? I mean, if you don't know how to transfer. We talked about transferring files using SCP from the command line. If you don't know how to curl and SCP files, you're going to be really frustrated with WinSCP and all the. We had a story. Vera's not here right now. It's not his normal time to be on. But he told a story about a guy that he had to fire, who was unable to use the terminal to copy stuff around. So he had to use FTP applications to move content. And you're not a bad person if that's you, but you're maybe not a person I want to hire. So learn the terminal, people. Just learn it. I mean, come on, it's not that bad. It really isn't. It's very, very powerful. It allows you to transfer files in mass. Yeah, or to troubleshoot a web server, right. One of the reasons I was okay with VS Code is because it had the terminal support. The terminal support in VS Code is rockin'. Atom has 0 terminal support. So, in fact, getting VS Code on your machine is the fastest way to get a good terminal. VS Code plus Git Bash these days is VS Code plus WSL2. But VS Code plus Git Bash was the single fastest way to get a really robust colored terminal. And when you're working with young people, you want color. And it's also UTF-8 compatible and everything, which PuTTY at the time was not. So, you know, if you're working with young people, VS Code plus Git Bash is the fastest way to get a terminal to an end user, as well as a way to edit code. It's hands down the best way to do it. Atom and Sublime and all those other tools do not have a good terminal built in. They might now, but they didn't when I was doing it. And so I'm going to maintain that's still the best path for most beginners, unless they want to sign off on a terminal-only workflow. People talk about Codium for Vim people. I have objective evidence to the contrary. I have a 10-year-old who finished Vim Tutor in 20 minutes and kicks ass editing in Vim. And it's just amazing. So if it's in your head, you think it's hard. So, you know, you think you have to have your precious mouse and all that shit. You don't. You got to get over the block. You just got to. You can even Vim. I've even proven Vim is better than. We're not going to talk about editors right now, but I've proven that Vim is just as easy as Nano. So I did a thing. If you want to go look at it. It allows you, if you allow beginners to use the arrow keys when they start out, which they should immediately get over, then you can do survive VI. These are the basics. These are the basics to use if you want to. If you want to introduce somebody to VI. Oopsie, it must be. I got that wrong. I'm sorry. I think it must be. VI survive. I'm gonna do a lot. So people like to joke about how hard it is to exit VI. So if you allow people to use these very, very basic things, this is the only. Listen, it fits on one page. This fits on half a screen. This is all you have to remember to be able to survive in VI. This is it. If you allow a beginner to use the arrow keys at the beginning, which Nano depends on. You can't not use the arrow keys in Nano. And believe me, you get fucking tired of spamming arrow keys in Nano really fast. Which is why, you know, positional location and stuff in VI is so much better. If you allow yourself, or the people you're helping to learn about this, if you allow them to use just the arrow keys and to do these things, they can use this as easy as Nano. And Nano doesn't have to be there. I don't think Nano should have ever been a default. Problem is that people don't know this, so they go into VI and they get stuck. It's not as intuitive, blah blah blah. Basically the same argument I have for using W3M over links for a beginner, and I agree that using W3M is a better recommendation for a beginner than links. Help screen, yeah, if you know how to do that. This isn't about editors, but I just wanted to show you that. Says was that VI survive or was it survive VI? Oh, I put VI first so that it would pop up in the search list when I type VI tab. That's what's going on with that. The other one, if you're a pro, you should definitely know VI Magic. If you don't know VI Magic, you don't know VI. That's not even up for debate. I'm not going to argue that with anybody. It's not even worth it. If you truly don't think this is important, you absolutely don't know VI, and it's not worth having a conversation. I mean, you're welcome to do whatever you want, but I want to talk to you about it because you don't understand VI. All right, back to Git. So let's get rid of that one. So where was I? I was on this part of the man page. Anybody can pull these up. I'm just using man. Now there is one disadvantage to doing color the way you know what? I actually know what's going on here, I think. So I'm doing, let's start over with this. Yo, or you. So we're going to do man Git tutorial. So I did man Git, and it says down here, hey, if you want to learn about Git, why don't you try one of these 3 other man pages. So then we did the man Git tutorial, which we're doing, which is really fun. Most of it is stuff I already know, but you can go through this. Every command, by the way, has its own man page. This is something that's cool to know. So you can do git log, for example. It'll give you the git log. Git commit has its own man page. It's really good, well documented stuff. I'm really proud to see this. But that's good to know. I'm a big fan of man pages. Always have been. I learned Perl entirely from the man pages. I didn't use any books. I bought the books, but they didn't really add much. Some of them did, but most didn't. The power of full shell integration builds stupid things like NeoVim. Heart on the tongue. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't mean any offense against any person unless you were the one whose idea it was to build NeoVim. Then you're an idiot. Everyone else has just fallen victim to your idiocy. Okay. So this tutorial explains how to import. To be fair, you're not an idiot. You needed concurrency, and you didn't have it when it was first built. But then you dogmatically hold on to the things you've built without letting go of them and saying, "Oh, hey, Vim has that now because of us." Post-market OS, Alpine Bytes distro for mobile devices. That sounds super cool. Super cool. I want to look at that. More people should be brutally honest. I'm sorry, Peter. I'm not trying to be contrarian, and I don't want to be a shock jock. I just don't like mincing words, which gets me in trouble all the time. Okay, so tutorial explains Git. We did this already. Man, git log, git config. You know how to do that, right? Don't have to talk to you about that. There was some debate when I first did this about your name on GitHub. I think they've fixed this, but it used to be that this name here, if you had to be your full name, not your username. And if you didn't do that, you wouldn't get a green star. I'm going to give you a green dot, And we've since started using usernames here, and it seems to be working fine. So they must have fixed that at some point. Either that or it was always that way. I don't know. Importing a new project. So importing a new project. I'm going to go with page down, page up. Okay, so tarballs, git init. Okay, I've got that. That's what I'm doing. Initialize it with a, yep. So I know about all this stuff. Dot is just the current repository. It does not recurse down below. If you need the recursion, you need to do -A. Git diff cached. I already read about that. So that shows you something very different than git diff. I did that already. It generally will show you, git status will show you what the next thing to do is, which is very, very helpful. And this is old. Somehow this is not, it's actually RM. I think this is a bug in the docs. Yeah, if you want to get rid of a stage file, it's git RM instead of git staged. We could not get the restore to work at all. Maybe somebody has information about that, but that doesn't work. Git commit, git add, git commit A. Git commit A actually adds any updates to the file that since the last time you committed. No, since the last time you added it. If you don't do that, then you'll get commits that don't have your last change in it, which is annoying. Let me show you that one. That one's a really important one to review because I finally understand why I was getting screwed over. So let me show you this one. So let's say, let's go down here. So I'm gonna clean this whole thing up. So here we have git status. So all right, let's do, well, I'm gonna reset this whole thing. Now I'm gonna do this whole thing again. Yep. I'm gonna do that. So watch this. You're gonna laugh. I'm gonna delete the whole thing. Make sure I'm in the right place. Yep. Oh no, my Git repo is gone. Let's actually really kill it. You won't have this. I have made a special alias. RWXRob / git learn. It doesn't even ask you for confirmation, so you better get this right. This is why it's not built in by default, because it's super dangerous. Hey, look, there was not a repo. I already deleted it. All right, so let's do this again. Clear that screen. Whoopsie. Sorry, I didn't mean to clear your... There's a different command for that. So let's make a new repo. Git init. Yay. Now we have a repo. Then we can do this. We can make a thing. Lemd. This here is a thing, a title. This, you want a readme file in there, all caps readme.md. We tested, that's actually what GitHub prefers. And that's going to give you your fancy, and it's super fancy, by the way, if it's the same name as your capture repos. That's the way I get what I do, your special readme file. So that another time we'll talk about readme. So we have a file, and now it's there, and git status. It's like, I have a file, I have no idea what to do with it. So git add readme or dot, we'll do it. And now it changed to, that changes. So now it's in stage status. Before it was in working status, which means I don't know about you. Now it's in stage status. So if you do a commit, all these are the things that will be included. And here it says the git rm. This is different from the man page. This is what I was telling you about. So the man page says to use this is old information. This restore is actually rm now, it looks like. So then you do git rm. So let's say I want to pull it back and say, oh, I didn't mean to put that one in there, right? You know, which is the thing I have not been really good at doing. If you do git rm readme file, it will delete it without a backup. I know somebody out there has probably done that. Make sure you put cached on everything. The moral of the story is put cached on everything. In fact, so much so, I almost want to make an alias for it. Because when you remove it from cache, it doesn't remove the file. It's still there, right? But if I, watch, I don't want to have to redo this, so I'm putting temp. So if I do this, so we'll do git add readme, git status. Now I have a cache file, right? I have the file, right? But, oh, I do git rm and I forget cache. Watch. Boom. Did you see this? Hi, Christopher. Did you see this? It says, no, you're going to have to force this because it has changes and I'm not going to delete it. That's new. I don't think I remembered. I recognize that from before. Once you commit a file... No, once you add a file to the stage directory, it protects it from accidental deletion through git rm. Very interesting. I don't think that stops you from removing the file. In fact, what happens when I do that? What happens if I just rip it away from staged? Then what does git do? What's it going to say? It's like, no, you deleted this, you dumbass. It's like, you didn't even tell me about that change. This is interesting because this means it's the addition is still staged. So the file is still there. What I want to know is, how do I pull it out of staging? Okay, yeah. So use add rm file to update what will be committed. No. Git restore to discard the changes in the working directory. Yes. Git, this is a new thing. Now git restore has different meaning. So that it must be a typo on the man page. Interesting. So git restore. Okay, git restore readme.md. Git status. Nice. You see that? That is a good thing to know. I've been wanting to know about that because when you're working in your working directory, this makes it so important for you to stage stuff frequently. Can I just say? Because if you do work, you don't have to necessarily commit the stuff you're staging. But it kind of ongoingly creates a backup of the content in case you delete it. You know, yeah, me too. So I like that because it's kind of like a safety net while you're going through it. If you get into the habit of like doing git add and it will get all the changes as you're going, then you're guaranteed to not lose those changes. Git won't let you unless you go through a tremendous amount of work to remove it. And that way you're protected. You're kind of... And that's the reason that I kept doing git pushes all day, every day. Is like, well, what if my computer goes down? Well, that never happens, right? But I also didn't need to do git commits, right? I didn't need to do a git commit. I need to learn to manipulate the staging mode, the staging state of files, because that is temporary saves. That's what that is. And let's say, oh no, fuck, I was like, I gotta remove start. That's actually really bad. That's gonna remove .git. But if I did a remove, whatever on accident, star.md, right? And I'm like, oh shit, I deleted readme. I didn't mean to. Git status. Oh, the deletion of that thing has not been added, right? If you really want to delete this, fine. Otherwise, we're still staged. You gotta prove to us you want to get rid of it. So then I can restore it, which is awesome. So I can do git restore readme. Say, okay, I'm going to bring that one back. I didn't mean to delete that one. So it's like having a trash that's not been emptied yet. Super cool. I mean, the power of all this stuff that I have not regularly been using, I've known it was powerful this whole time. I just have not been doing it because it was too annoying. I was like, and you can, I just get flow and stick with it. I'll live with what smarter people have decided. Well, yeah, I mean, and that's kind of what we're working out right now. So we're going to get to that eventually. The whole Git branch thing. Don't do anything unless you do it on a branch. Smarter people than me with regard to Git have talked to me about that, and they've opened my eyes to a bunch of things because I don't work on a team collaboratively a lot. Usually I'm either running the project or I'm answering pull requests and blah, blah, blah. So yeah. Anyway, but now I want to actually. So here's another thing, right? So I'm doing this for myself as much as anybody because I want to practice these different stages. Let's say something has changed, right? And you're like, well, and would be a mistake. You think, well, okay, so I changed that file, but it's already included. So when I commit, it's going to be included. Wrong. Because why? Because you made changes to the file since it was staged. And so the changes you made up to that point are staged and they will be committed. But any changes you made after that are not making it in the commit. Which is kind of cool because you can like work on something you've staged up to a certain point and maybe experiment with how the file could work a different way without actually adding those changes. And so then you can do git status. So this is why every time this used to confuse me. I was like, how do I have a file that's in a working state and also a commit state? And the answer to that is stop thinking about files. Git is not about files. It's about changes. And sometimes the change is a new file, but you need Git looks at changes, not files. In fact, it won't even do stuff if you have just a directory. It does nothing in it. And Git CLI tools for the flow and try to stick with it, but it's good to initially learn what the flow is and trying to solve. Yeah, I would never use a tool besides Git. Maybe my almost never to say never, right? Maybe I will end up doing that, but I just think it's unwise to use anything besides Git. I think understanding Git first is super important. I don't think you need a tool for a tool for a tool, and I think that gets you in trouble. So I personally am not going to follow that path. I'm going to learn Git, and I'm going to learn it from the fucking man page. So that's what I value. All right, let's see here. So git add. Now here you could commit this, right? So I can actually go forward and commit the whole thing with a git commit -a, and that will add in the changes that haven't been added. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do git add readme. Oh, Merkle trees, baby. Yeah, you were saying that the other day. So we can do git what we're going to call it, git status. So the different way to see stuff. So git status, git log, and git show. Those are the three commands I need to burn into my brain. Git status, git log, and git show. Those are the things you use to see what's happening. They're basically the ls of Git, right? The pwd and ls of Git. There's another one though, and that's list remote and git tags, and those things you have to see too. It's a separate system for looking at that, so I would add those in as well. So then we're going to do this. We're going to do git status shows us that. Git log, what does that show? Nothing to see yet because I haven't any commits. We can do git show. There's no commits. Git show and git logger for commits. So nothing there. So we can do git add readme. Now what this will do is it'll add that change in. Oh, what I was going to say is git diff. Git diff is another way to see stuff too. So I'm going to put those all on my list. I already have the list started, so seeing stuff. Git show, git tags, git diff dash dash cached, git git tag, and there's another one I happen to know that I looked up just yesterday. Git dash dash ls, is it ls remote tags? That is super important. Let me try that one again. I don't want to kind of get. Well, I haven't pushed anything yet, so anyway. So those are ways, different ways to see. Make sure you do the cached on that. So crud. Create, replace, update, delete. So git diff dash dash cached. If you don't do cached, you just get this empty thing, because nothing's changed since the last commit. So you want cached. Cache says, hey, here's all the stuff that's been staged. I love that. I want to know what it would be like to actually, because these diffs are diffs. You can actually apply a diff as a patch to a system. With just as is, and I haven't done that in years. God, when was the last time I applied a diff? Git add dash p is the most frequently used command. What's up with the dash p? I've never done that. Dash p patch. Oh, for patching. Right. I didn't know that. So are you using git add dash p? That's when you're not using GitHub, right? For merge requests. That's something I really want to talk about that doesn't get talked about in the public very much, is managing Git repos without GitHub. I really want to learn that. And it looks like git add dash p is a big way to do that, right? But what, okay, I got to read about it. Now that you mentioned it, I got to read about it because I'm interested. Dan gets school dude. Get school dude. As a resource. Nice. Yeah, we'll have to go do that. Let's look it up, shall we? So, actually, let me go find that. I have resources here somewhere. Yeah, if you have resources, let me know, and I'll put them all together. So, let me add that one. Watch this. I'm so happy about this. Boom. Pulled it right out of your chat, which is on a remote server. That's pretty damn cool. That was an SSH call. Super proud of that. Yeah, I just pulled that out of the chat log from a remote system without leaving VI. The power of VI, true VI. Try to do that in your fucking Emacs. I'm playing. Just calm down. All right. Yeah. I'm only sort of playing. No, seriously, show me how to do it in Emacs. Can you do that? What I just did? Yeah, we'll see. So we'll see. I'm playing. We're playing. We're all friends here. Interactively choose hunks of patch between the index and the work tree. Oh, no way. And add them to the index. This gives the user a chance to review the difference before adding modified content to the index. What? This effectively runs add interactive, but bypasses the initial command menu and redirects jumps to the patch subcommand. Sweet. So it's not like applying a patch that's in a file someplace. I kind of misunderstood. All right. Interesting. This is a good time for me to get coffee. Go get coffee, people. Go get coffee. and start a new pot. So, cocaine on the toilet. Oh my god. Git command line, git aliases. I partially agree with that. I've used a couple git aliases. I've used git hooks, but thanks for that feedback. Yeah, thank you for that a lot. Oh god, you're gonna make me add that too, aren't you? You'd be like full of resources for me. Oh, it's like, okay, fine. You have to act quickly, otherwise it gets scrolled off. So I have to add it there. That's in the Git book, right? Well, the Git book itself, that's actually probably, yeah. Level of vibrations on a given disk. Windows shades to give us a whole line of servers. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know what that means. Thanks for the follow there, Jimmo. And the rest, I don't call you out. It's not a way. I don't believe in any of that. I don't want to have people call me out. I love good hooks. Oh my god, yeah, I love them, but they are so dangerous. What did I use Git hooks for? I had a really cool Git hook. Git hooks are kind of like GitHub Actions on the client side. That's how I kind of look at them. And they're also kind of like Vim script events, if you know what those are. Like the things that you can tie, but if you do it too much, you forget how stuff gets done. They're as dangerous as triggers in databases. No, I'm working on Rebase, guys. Just give me time. So, you hear what I'm saying there? You guys know that you guys know that triggers are dangerous. People don't use triggers in databases a lot, right? Because using triggers in a database, you end up forgetting what's going on. And so event-based programming, you have to be careful because you can end up putting a callback, a logical callback, not an actual JavaScript callback. So I'm talking about. The event paradigm is allow people to hook in to actions that this particular application does at a given point. And when you hook into those things, you can forget how and where you've hooked in. So then you forget. That's the problem with triggers. It's the problem with Vim script events. It's also very powerful, right? It's also the problem with hooks in Git. Anytime you're like having some sort of callback model, just be aware of it, because it can it can make your day. Laziness is a huge concern for software. People do them all the time though, because they are triggers and events and stuff like that. They're easy to add in after the fact, rather than up front making things that happen. And event-based programming is awesome in general. I mean, we couldn't have games without events. So, it's it is what it is. And business events, are Lambda functions. Lambda functions are triggered by events. That's what GitHub Actions are. That's what Lambdas are. The remote trigger in GitHub Action is nice. Yeah, that kind of thing though. You just have to be aware of it. But it's a very valuable tool. You just have to do it. Build test, exactly. See, Carr's mention of hooks is that's why you would use it. You would use Git hooks the same way locally that you would use GitHub Actions or Lambdas. So Lambdas and Actions and that kind of thinking are fine. You just have to be aware of it, and it gives you the ability to use the power of that model locally during your Git commits. So, oh yeah, you totally do. Let to verify files, avoid hooks. That does that kind of file modification. Yeah, anything that, because they're not atomic, right? And yeah. Anyway, so I'm thinking. I was thinking about some other things, but I don't want to talk about that. We're gonna keep progressing through this thing here. So we did Git stage. We did all that. Hack the planet. Return to dust. Welcome. Git commit-a is it just does an add at the same time. I don't imagine I will ever do that. Just because if you forget to do that, by the way, I think you can do amend, and that's really the thing to do. So let me cast a scenario for you that is a common thing that that it's very easy to possibly do. So temp git learn. So let's say you have your readme file here, and everything's all ready to go. We're talking about what happened to the stream. Please tell me you can still see it. It says excellent condition on YouTube, so let me know. All right, so then we get into this. So here is a problem. You have get status, you do get add. Okay, so let's say you make a change to the file. You have a typo, and you have a typo, right? And you totally forgot you fixed the typo, and you don't do get status, and you're like, crap, right? And then you do git commit, and the first thing you need to see here is if you pay it. I talked about this last night, and I'm going to make a case for this once again. Dragging me down a series of rabbit holes. Yeah, it does. I completely agree. So let me just make the case again that I personally believe, particularly for beginners, that doing git commit -m is a bad thing to do at first. Eventually you get used to it, you know what's going on. But the problem with that is you don't get to see that you have a change you're missing unless you're really religiously doing git status, in which case it's kind of redundant to it's more efficient to do git commit because it shows you your status down here. So, you know, why do that, right? If you see this and you're like, oh shit, right? So you can go out and say, I forgot to do a git add, right? Let's say you forget all of that, all right? Let's say you do a git commit -m, which is very likely, and you didn't do a git status. So let's wipe the screen. Let's say you're in a hurry and you forgot git status, and so you do git commit -m, which is, you know, a thing, you know, a quick change, and you're like, awesome, okay, I'm all good. Git status. Why do I have a red change here? I just committed it. What the fuck? I've done this before. I was like, why does, and you don't remember what your change was, and then you end up doing a git diff. You're like, okay, well, what changed? You're like, oh, okay. So that didn't make it in there. Well, let's do a full git diff with cached and see everything that's getting ready. What? And that's actually a reason to not use git cached. I can't put words around that difference, but after something has been committed, you want to do git diff without -cached. And you want to do git diff -cached when you're dealing with stage data. So git diff without -cache is what you want to do to look at the stuff that's committed, and git diff with -cache compares your current working tree to your stage data, or to cached. And by the way, they changed the name. So cached, the term cached, I read this, the term cached used to be what they called staged data, and they've since started calling it staged instead. So I imagine that at some point it will be a git diff --staged. And that would be nice, because basically just remember that staged and cached are synonymous in the Git domain language. That's what they talk about. So this says, look, I want to diff my working tree against the staged content. Well, there's no change there because there's no staged content. I want to diff against the committed content that has not yet been pushed. There you go. So once again, the really great advice that was given to me to know the 3 or 4 states of your content is really important. You have working, which is, you know, the red stuff. You have staged, which is the sort of yellowy stuff. And then you have the committed stuff, which is what we're seeing now. And then you have the pushed stuff, which is invisible because once you push it, it's part of the whole entire thing. So if you think about your content in those 4 stages, you can really get your head around everything else. It's been very, very helpful for me to think about it that way. So it also explains why git diff without --cache is useless. Basically, I have not been using my staged mode at all. I imagine this is a common thing with level 3 type of Git people. I think that they don't fully take advantage of the staged state. I think that would describe me, and maybe describes you a little bit. So that was an example of that. But how do I fix that, right? Well, I don't want to make another commit because I already did an M. Well, I happen to know in this particular case that if you can do a commit, I think it's amend, right? Amend. amend. You can do tab completion because I can't remember it. There we go. Commit amend. It keeps the same exact title. It adds the new thing, but that still isn't staged. So I don't know. We're gonna see here. Still, nothing was changed. That's interesting. What I want to know is if I do a -a, what happens? Moaning from Stack Overflow, right? For this staged cache and index, yeah. On the Git version used, it was changed to index along the way. Today it's called index. Today it's called the index instead of staged. Your commands which use cached like git diff, rm cached. That is strange. Thank you for that. A quick change. So this time, did you see what I did this time? Git status, that shows git status on bash along with the folder name. What is that? I don't know what that is. It must be some sort of thing, right? Oh, you made a program to do it. Yeah, everybody, as soon as they get down, they have like all kinds of aliases and everything they do. I have one called commit, and it just does git commit, right? So yeah, important note there. I need to add that to my notes. I'm going to put important concepts. I'm going to put some important concepts. So index, cache, and let's see. Index, cache, and staged are synonyms. Did I spell that right? I don't know how to spell it. I don't give a shit. Okay. I don't want to think about it. And it would go over. Didn't quite track it. I'm gonna do another web development series that does not use the book. That's the answer, Dennis. The only thing we're going to do in this series I'm going to do is make a resume that's interactive and call it a day. And I'll introduce you to all the concepts of the web and we'll be done. And then I don't plan on going deep into web content ever again. Ever. Yeah, it's not just that it has a lot of problems. It's that it covers more than I particularly care to cover with beginners. So while I still think it's a valuable resource, and I probably will leave the videos out there, I won't be considering those videos any part of Beginner Boost because it's just too exhaustive. There's enough flaws in the book that not flaws, they're largely irrelevancies. The most annoying thing about the book, by the way, then I'll move on to another topic. The most annoying thing about the book, by the way, is that it's not up to date on the things I care about. It doesn't cover like how to host services. It doesn't cover Jamstack. It doesn't cover modern JavaScript. It covers important things like Flexbox and stuff like that. And she makes sure to keep those things up to date, but she doesn't keep the other system related things up to date because it's not her interest. And those are my core interests. So even though I really, really love how she says don't break the web and make code that everybody can see and things like that are absent from other resources, I just need to do my own thing. So that's what's going to happen there. If and when I do that, it'll kind of slowly come about. It's probably not going to be a book. I'm going to do the hard way, and I'll just give you a list of things you should learn and say go learn it. Here's some resources, go learn it. That's my approach for mentoring. I don't like giving you the content. I want to give you the list of things you need to go find content for. And if I happen to provide content at some point with a bookmark video, you can go watch that. In this particular case, it's just me working through Git. If this turns out to be useful for somebody, awesome. It's not only is it something I want to do for others, it's the way I want to build the new knowledge exchange grid where everybody just shares their notes, and that's how we learn. We don't have to pay. We can, but we don't have to. Anyway, everybody is a different learner. I am not going to pretend to tell you how to learn. So anyway, there we go. So what are we going to do now? Notes to Git. Do you want to commit? No, I just want to do it again because I didn't mean to shut it. All right. Back to where we were. So I have coffee brewing, so I go get that. All right. How much time do I got? Almost noon. Oh, it's so good. That's good coffee. A little bit of a biscuit. That's what they say in England, right? I've got a biscuit. It's not a cookie, it's a biscuit. It's a biscuit. A biscuit. Do you like biscuits? Would you like a biscuit? Would you like a biscuit with your coffee? With your tea? Maybe that's why they like tea better than coffee, because it's easier to say with an English accent. British accent. Coffee sipping ASMR. In the house. Печенки. Да. Да, мне очень нравится. Tea has also a variety in taste. I completely agree. I love my Maple Vermont Maple Celestial seasonings. It's awesome. Awesome. All right, where are we? Back at it, peoples. It's like a big study hall, like for a class, right? Like you're getting ready for a test, and you're doing that thing, and you're like, I don't know, throwing wrappers and pop bottles, caps at people and stuff. All right, what am I doing? Okay, yeah, I need to get onto the rebasing stuff. Back to the man page. All right, so the man page talks about git commit. I know about this stuff now. I just kept going over and over and over it again because I want to. The repetition is how your brain learns it, right? They like keep firing those pathways, those neural pathways, until they stick. Because we don't have like binary magnetism in our brain. It's too bad. Note on commit messages, though not required, it's a good idea to begin with a summary with a commit. Short single message, less than 50 characters, which is another reason to use the commit without -m. It tells you exactly how many characters you have. Summarizing the change following a blank line, and then a more thorough description. The text of the first line in a comment message is treated as a commit title. Commit title, and that title is used throughout Git. For example, Git format patch turns a commit into email, and it uses the title on subject line and the rest of the commit in the body. This is a good question. How many of you have opinions on what to put in your commit messages? So I am partial to something I recently saw somebody do. Git status, say git commit -a, and I like this style. I like something like added another line period, and I don't know who it was that used that. I think it might be Quint, but they always start it with an initial cap, and they always end it with a period, and that's kind of a sentence. It's more of a phrase. So specifically, technically speaking, you shouldn't have a dot there. But there was something about having a dot that the period that I've always, and the reason I'm asking this question because this man page we just read suggests that it should be a title. And I've never considered my first line of a git commit message to be a title, but that actually makes a lot of sense. So you could say added another line. It's like, after much consideration, I added another line, and so And now you can add that, right? None of the comments are going to be saved. And then you add that and you get another line. So then we get, was it log? And then we do git show. See this? So this shows you, after much consideration, I added another line. I think I like the period idea. I do. I'm going to start doing that. That's commit message should read well if you imagine the text. If applied, this commit will before the commit message. Ooh. That is a great car. You are like a font of knowledge today. Thank you so much for being here. You would get massive points if I had the ability to give you points, which I used to do. I want to do. So I don't. You're in IRC, so you must be on YouTube, I'm guessing. Okay, thank you for joining. All right, so let's do this. Let's see. Okay, I have to put that in the notes. That is like brilliant. Say, if applied, I will give you full credit if I knew how to give you credit. This commit will. That would mean not using gerund verbs. You know what those are? Versus, one of the biggest questions I have as a tech writer, on an official tech writer, is whether to use a gerund or a verb, an active verb, a declarative verb, an imperative verb. Read somewhere in a blog post. Yeah, but you shared, so thank you. If you answer this question, then that means the answer should not be added or adding, which by the way burns up characters in a 50 character maximum that I'm not happy to do. Hey Necro. So I'm going to suggest that this is the best way. I'm going to start doing this. Another thing, if you don't use a gerund, the period is appropriate at the end because it's a full sentence. It's a full imperative sentence. I mean, I freak out on this shit. I'm sorry, but I like it because then your commit history will be consistent in its reading. And there's one way to win major points with your team lead is to make really great commit messages. Apparently, instead of just whatever, right? In fact, you can be lynched for making shitty commit messages to massive commits that are to all. The other thing about commit messages that I really love is if the message doesn't apply to a file that's in the staged commit set, it doesn't belong, and you need to make another commit. Because when it pulls up in GitHub, if the little message that appears next to the file makes no sense at all, when you look at that file, it's like, why would this commit message ever relate to this file? Then you absolutely know, unless it's like initial commit or some shit, that is a fail, because you should have made a separate commit for that. And I'm learning this as I go. So, good stuff to know, though. Really appreciate this little participation here. Not little, it's significant. So if applied, this commit will this and this and this and this and this. The thing that's so cool about that is then you can write a change log and just dump all your commit messages in there. Fuck yeah. It's like takes care of writing your change log for you automatically. There's probably a tool for that. Thank you so much for saying that. I'm kind of stuck on it because it's really a great insight. That is fantastic. I'm enamored with that insight. Okay, so blah 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 blah. How do I roll back that other change? Because I want to fix the commit message or anything like that. So you're saying to commit more often, so it makes sense. Yeah, look. I have read the couplet that says, what is it? Commit often. What is it? There's something that says. There's a saying in the Git community regarding committing, and it's basically that you should be committing often. You should be staging, of course, all the time, but even more frequently than that, you should be staging and committing. In fact, now that I understand staging, I'm going to be staging freaking all the time because that's my backup. Staging doesn't affect, you don't get an extra commit message. You don't have to sit there and do that. You just have to stage the new change every time. You should be staging changes like constantly, in my opinion, and keeping them up to date so you have that backup in case you screw something up. And then when you get to the commit, but you should also be probably committing often. But I think that the wisdom behind commit often is supposed to be It's supposed, I don't know. I think it's supposed to be that you commit often so that you can tell where you are and what's going on and you have a backup. And the other thing too that I've accepted is you shouldn't be afraid of committing a lot, because it does make, every commit does make something that ends up going out in an email or something like that. But none of that stuff has been pushed. And so if you're doing it to a branch, you can squash it all into a single commit. And that is a level 4 Git thing that I want to do. And I'm not there yet. So I need to put the levels in here. I'm going to put Git levels, Git mastery levels. This is my own sort of invention, but I'm going to do it. I stream all the time. Yeah. I see films. I stream whenever I'm awake and can stream it because it's not full-time work of some kind. Right now, my full-time employment is stuff I can stream because I'm my own boss, and that doesn't mean I'm unemployed. It just means I run my own company. So I don't care about giving everything up that I do. In fact, I stream my working hours at night. So the answer is yes. It's not for 24 hours, like 16 hours. And when the spring hits, and spring is here, I'm going to start running for a couple hours a day again. And when that happens, I'm actually trying to figure out a way to take you guys on the road with me. And that's one of the reasons I'm thinking about getting a more mainstream phone, because it's just easy to set up Instagram or something, or some shit that forwards. Anyway, attaboy Rob, running again. Yes, I need to do it. You guys remember from last summer, right? I was gone for like 8 hours a time. I'm gonna get it back. I'm gonna do it. It'd be more fun if I get to take you with me. I've thought about getting a Linux phone. All the Linux phones are super cool and awesome, and also unable to run most apps. So, I mean, I could definitely hack my own thing together for my own RTMP stream push and everything. But it's the same reason I don't run Arch for my streaming distro is the same reason I'm considering getting a fucking Pixel again. Because I just want it to work. I don't want to think about it. I know it's tracking me. I don't care. In fact, it's a good thing to track me when I go on a run. When I go on a run, I'm going to activate tracking on purpose because I want my wife to find me if I have a heart attack. True story. So all that tracking privacy violation actually sometimes makes sense. I don't know. Sue me. Yeah. I hate smartphones too. I don't have one. I have a flip phone right now because I don't like all of that shit. But we talked about this a lot, and we do constantly. But if I pick it up again, that's what it'll be. The hard part of that is that it's any tracking. But Linux allows for only your wife being able to track you. I don't know. I'll give it a shot. I mean, I'll if the Pine phone does. I mean, you got to pay what, like $1,200 for the Pine phone if it's even out yet. The Librem 5 was not really what everybody wanted. So anyway, Git master levels, no Git at all. Branch, never do anything without branching. That's the kind of thing. And squashing. I'm going to put branching, squashing, branching, merging, branching, rebasing, squashing, merging. Oh my. I understand stages, content, whatever, content, states, and basic commands. And then uses Git behind another script or tool. So I'll put that in there. Likes film, The Movie Enthusiast. Oh, I do too. Yep. Yup. So yeah. So okay. Let's see. Where is the other one? I have like C shit. Where is that? C shit. V for Vendetta. Oh. I love that show. That's one of my all-time favorites, not just because of Anonymous, or whatever the fuck. I love it. I have like 10 of those masks. None of which I've ever worn into anything significant. True story. I just have them for fun. They're a little bit cliche, no doubt. Where did I put that note? I'm trying to find it. I can't find it again. See stuff. Alright, there we go. Git diff and cached. I put cached here. Cached is really the thing to remember. It's in git diff. I mean, there's a lot of things, but you develop a film movie website? Nice. You're not the movie reviewer, dude, are you? See films? Like whatever, movie enthusiast? That's not you, is it? I mean, I wouldn't. I believe that's. Wait, what do I do? What do I do? Oh, that's the danger of like automating your history from 2 different panes. You're like, I didn't do that in this pane. I did it in another pane. It's like, it's a slight annoyance with what I'm doing right now. But it's worth it if you ask me, because it transfers the knowledge between Windows and Tmux. That just burned me a little bit right there because it wasn't in my history. I was like, what? All right, back to where we were. So yeah, git status. We have a commit. It's on and everything. We can't push anything. We don't have anything up there yet. For a blog I made. Nice. A little bit of healthy self-promotion never hurt anyone. Well, let's see what else there is. So git tracks. Okay. So this we had a moment where we discussed commit messages, and we've decided that those messages will start with an imperative verb, add, not added. If I had this change, it will what? Add a blah 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 blah. If I did this change, it will do what? I mean, that's not intuitive, right? People would probably put a gerund there if they're English speakers, or an infinitive if they're like Russian or French speakers. You guys know what those are. Gerunds end with dash ing in English. An infinitive, is that what it's called? Is a verb. It's a non-declined verb in its natural state, and that's a French and a Russian kind of thing to do, like aller, you know. So yeah, I wonder what it would look like in another language, but it doesn't matter. I speak English, so anyway, let's do this. Let's go down some more. We're going down more here. Ooh, VI navigation in my man is working. Yay, team. I turned my screen off. I should probably turn back on my screen key. Yeah, there we go. All right, so going up and down in my man page with my VI mode. Why on earth would you do anything else? Many revision control systems. I don't want to talk about that right now. Basic. Many revision control systems provided an add command that tells the system to start tracking changes to a new file. Oh, there it is. Git tracks content, not files. Nice. Git's add command does something simpler and more powerful. Git add is used both for new and newly modified files, as in both cases, but it tracks content change. I would go so far as to say it tracks changes to content, not files. Yeah, I think that's my main point that it's worth repeating in my main concepts section of Git. This is kind of to help me out. Git tracks changes Snapshot contest kit. There we go. Got that already. And then what? Git add. We got that. Viewing project history. How many we got? So we're line 114 of how many? I don't know. Viewing project history. At any point you can view the history of your changes using git log. This is wants to see complete diffs using git log-p. Using git log. Let's try that. So sorry, so git log. Okay, git log-p. Oh, wait a second. What? -p is in patch mode. Oh, it includes the patch. You seeing this? I only use GitHub these days, but I have a ton of stuff on GitLab still. Change control rather than version control. Yep, it's change control. It's change management. It's not version control. Yep. Change management system, CMS. Content management system. I don't know if you can mix those acronyms up and get them mixed up, right? This is cool. So did you see this? When I did git log, it actually put the diff in it. So I'm going to add that to my list of interesting commands for showing shit, for seeing stuff. I'm gonna put git log with the option for. I'm only calling out the options that I might particularly care about that I'm going to use all the time. So this is my summary of what's possible. GitLab's great. I made lots of videos on it. Vids, GitLab, GitHub. Go to town. Cover that well in other videos. So back to man. Here we go. So we have git log, git log-p. Often the overview of the changes is useful to get a feel for each step. Okay. Get stats summary. Why the fuck would I do that? I don't care about that. But I'm going to do it one time just because. So I don't believe in reading things and not doing them. It's just a bad idea. Because you will not remember it at all. Even if you don't use it again, by doing it one time, a better chance of it staying in your memory. Ooh, look at the pretty colors though. Oh, look at this. See, I would not have guessed this. This is very pretty. This is much more fun. Why am I not doing that all the time? That's got I mean, that's not, I would not have expected that. It's basically a git log, but it's pretty. That's my new git log. That should be my alias. I'm gonna do it right now. Yep, I'm gonna do it right now. Git log. Is that your one that you like? Is that it alias? That's what you alias to L, and then you do git L, but you do a git alias. Oh, I see what you did. I was gonna make a whole command for that, but you're saying use a git alias for that instead. Cart, once again coming through. I'm gonna jump ahead and learn how to do a git alias. How do I do a git alias? I don't know. I'm gonna do this. Man, git alias. Git config global says checkout. There's no man for aliases. God damn it. I mean, it would be. I'm guessing it would just be a string, right? Is there anything in my here? Is there anything in my git config that I shouldn't show? I always have to check this. I think not. I think git config is. It does have my signing key, but that's public information. LGD. Oh, I forgot about that. I already have the LGD comment. That's like freaking cool. I totally forgot about that. I totally forgot. As you said, somebody said you forget about the aliases, right? Yeah, LGD is really cool. Yeah, LGD. It's like big fucking. I don't ever use it, but I made it. I put it in there. Okay, so there's nothing in there that I need to hide. So I can show you. What did I just do? Did I do something wrong? All right, wait. There. All right, so if you add a key, your public key, then all your stuff gets signed. It implies dash GPG sign automatically. You don't have to type it every time. What you want to do, that gives you the verified note on your commits. I always replace, you always use git. I don't like use HTTP. This is some alias that somebody sent a long time ago to me, and I'm like, whatever. But I shall now add yet another alias directly to my git file. What format is this? This is not INI, is it? Anybody know what format is this? I've been trying to figure that out. And I cannot figure that out. So now I can do git L. Oh, damn. Whoopsie. I was big into INI. I made the Toml logo, blah blah blah, and it looks like Toml to me. It's, yeah. Git L. Oh god, that is beautiful. God damn, that's beautiful. So did you see that other alias? I don't know if anybody cares, but it's like git LDG, whatever that is, and that shows this like. Oh wait, git LGD. Beautiful. So this is a thing apparently that people like. I don't like that. I'm just gonna do git L. That is gorgeous. That is damn right gorgeous. It shows me exactly what happened. It has all my gits, my changes there. What happens when you squash though? I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't need to know that yet. I want to know what happens when I squash. It's supposed to put everything. So it sounds like you would know this. I've been asking myself and other people who do get a lot. What happens with that big, wonderful, long, verbose comment that started with a 50-character title? And you did if you apply this, you get this, right? What happens to all that extra stuff when you squash? I've heard it gets thrown out. And because all the commit messages become one commit message for the squash and the merge, right? But I want to know how much of that you lose. So that's it. I'm getting to that eventually, but I haven't got there yet. But anybody who knows the answer to that would be really nice to know. Aha, branches. Here we go. All right, branches are a thing. Git branch experimental. So the workflow that I've heard you're supposed to do for source code anyway. Another thing too is, I'm going to put this in my notes because I want to make sure to cover this. Different uses. What do I want to say? Use cases for Git. So I think it's really important to separate your usage of Git. Simple backup of written information. Simple backup and versioning. I don't know what to call that. Workflows. Yeah. No, they're not workflows. They're different base uses for it. Uses for Git. So I'm going to say here, some people approach Git for different needs. I believe it is very important to keep this in mind when helping others learn it. So the fundamental difference, two fundamental differences for me are as follows. So one, publishing written content with Git, and or publishing no core, no source, just knowledge source. And then the second way is actually producing a formal source code management. This is like a big time deal, right? It's like simple, and the other one I would call kind of like sandbox, quick and dirty projects. I'm not gonna fucking branch if I'm just spitballing on a thing. It's kind of like the reason you have a gist. Sometimes gists are Git repos. You know that, right? Gists unfortunately have a fucking long ID and they're annoying as hell to manage. Now that the GH tool exists, it's easier, but branch stays when you merge. Yeah. When you merge with flash git never loses anything if you use safe command. Dangerous commands are commands that rewrite history, like git reset with hard. Yeah, git rebase. Can you read me a story? Not today, Doppel. Sorry, go to bed. How's it going, Quint? Oh God, what are you pasting to me? Pasting the man page to me? Seriously? A bit more individual commitments with the git help command. Git CLI. Man page gives you an overview. Yeah, I know. We're reading that, dude. Hyperlink comment to Git documentation is viewed. Why would you do that, though? Best bet. That's what we're reading right now. That's what we're doing. Yeah. Thank you for spamming the chat with what we're already reading. I used to love them too because I use them for, you can hold them to do stuff. All right. Cookie Crunch ASMR. I know I used to mute for this shit, but now you guys you can mute me. Keep your finger close to the mute button. You'll be happy you did. Here comes branching, it looks like. So at this point I kind of feel like I should put like a topic change. You're just glad the space war is gone? I love the space war. Yeah. You know what, though? I mean, you make a good point. Some people don't like background noise at all. I really do. I mean, I'm kind of having a coffee break moment. So let's talk about something that's kind of not related to Git for a second. Let me ask. I mean, we don't have that many people here right now. We only got like 30 or 40 people. But the question is, the fire rain, but the space was getting to me. I have moods. So the question is, do I inflict my mood on you, right? And that kind of goes with music too. So I love PPO, but I can't turn the sound on because I fucking hate the music on it. What I'm asking is, Rob needs more coffee. What I'm asking is, should I just cancel the sound completely and you have nothing but me? And there's arguments both ways, right? The one argument is, well, I don't want to have to deal with putting my own music and background stuff on in addition to what you're doing. It's kind of nice because I can just pull you up and it just works. That's what people usually say like that. And then other people, yeah, I like rain and I like the snowstorms. The rain and the snowstorms are pretty universal. Most people they like that no matter what. I really, really love the spaceship sound though. So, then the frequency. So you found it fatiguing? Yeah. I don't think anybody's going to complain about rain and snow noises. You know what I mean? Damn it, without the rain sound, I could understand all of it. What does that mean? So the rain sound is causing you to not be able to hear me somehow, some level? Is that what's happening? I've seriously thought about canceling all sound but my voice and letting you layer in your own sound, or letting me come back later and add in sound for, you know what I mean? I want to return back to Branch's topic later today, looking for a timestamp on the description. Yeah, that's why I put topic changes in there. It's also why I have to redo the videos pretty frequently, so we can do that. I think I'm going to do that. I did all the code for that. I might as well. That is part of reading the man pages. So, but I know I'm putting a mark. The other thing too is in Twitch lets you put marks in, and I have a whole marks API built in. It's already done, and I just don't activate it right now because they don't allow you to put a full title. So then I want to make, when I do topics, I'm going to make, when I do topics eventually, I'm going to make quick keys. Not cookies, aliases, like really interesting aliases, and then those aliases, you can pull those up, and I can just redo that topic by going to the alias. And I can list all the aliases of the previous topics I've used, and then those aliases will become marks in the video that are within the limitation of text and all the text size to go to. So I have a lot of ideas on that particular thing, but the fundamental question right now is, do you want background or not? Cookies? Yeah. I can only eat one at a time. I can't eat more than that. The other disadvantage of putting some kind of music or some kind of rain or anything in the background is that it corrupts the video that I'm making, so that I can't reuse it and put another background later. That might ultimately trump everything else. It really depends on one question. Am I ever going to clip videos and make actual, polished, edited videos out of the content I'm producing? Yes or no? If yes, then I'm more likely to get rid of the background sound, because it's better content. I was running behind with the video. I did not realize how much I was running behind. YouTube sucks at watching live when you pause. You just click live, Peter. You see the live button? Here, let me show you. This happens too. So if you pause, this thing goes dark. I found this out. Bring back the space rain. See, there's contrary opinions. If you click live, that will jump you to the current. It will jump you to the current thing. I found that out. Lots of little lessons I've been learning lately. I love the space stuff on occasion for myself. So what I'm thinking of doing, no, I've already decided I can't play music on the background. That was an easy decision. But I have an iPad here, yeah, Apple, whatever, that I play to put sounds that I can hear. At very worst, are going to get me demonetized, but they're not gonna cause my video from being pulled down. And I'm considering putting my background sounds in that for me, and then allowing you guys to put your own videos in there. Now, Lunmar, he doesn't like me to sing and shit because he uses my videos to calm him down at the end of the day. Which is a dubious decision all by itself. But still, I'm still having a coffee break. That's why we're talking about this. Right, I don't mind the sound. It prevents you from being tempted to create clips and compilations during post-editing. Yeah, it does. It makes it so you really don't want to do post-editing, right? Yeah, me too. I found that out like 2 weeks ago. I was going through it trying to deal with chapters, and then somebody said, yeah, in order to activate the chapter playlist, you have to click on the stuff right next to the live button. If you click on that stuff, it'll pull up the playlist for all the chapters, which, by the way, you can't have more than 12 hours of. I'm paraphrasing what Lamar said, yeah. It's the throaty noises. Well, you want to tune out when I start doing open mic and start getting my guitar out. But like, yeah, it does not work. Well, yeah. You need a break, but it's more about breaking the video up. Another reason to do that is because if you get a demonetized video or something like that, it only affects that video. It doesn't affect all 12 hours. So I'm going to kind of like make a maximum limit right now. I'm an hour and 38 minutes in, so we'll probably be doing like 2 hour, 3 hour video sessions that people can consume a little bit more better, and then that'll also allow me to go for runs, and that'll just be a different video, etc. In fact, if we do that, I don't know, we can figure it out. This is not bring out a ukulele. I have one. I actually bought it from my wife. Expensive little thing. God, that thing was expensive. It's the most expensive instrument I've ever bought for its size. Play it sometime on the stream. I will eventually. It totally is. We're on break. All right, so yeah, we're gonna get back to Git right now. I just I mean, I like your point about having, not what you are doing. Oh, right. I like the point about having the rain. First of all, the rain in the background does a number of things. It generally covers over what's in the far distance that you could really, really maximize. That's not why I'm doing it, though. I do it because I listen to it and it calms me down. So guitar with overtones also is badass. The problem is that my mood for backgrounds is not going to match yours, and I mean I think that's a part of the stream. You just change the channel, right? Then I get people who sometimes sort of quietly resent the fact that I'm putting stuff in the background they don't like, and I don't want to completely say fuck you, go someplace else. I can't learn with legit music. I can't either. I can code with music, but when I'm learning, I'm trying to listen. I want to focus, and I definitely don't want extra stuff. Another thing too I want to be able to do is I want to be able to go 100% muted. So if I have words coming across the screen, so let's say I accidentally get muted for some random shit reason, then I want to be able to have the words still be across the screen saved permanently so the video can be read and consumed even if I get muted. And that way, if some random song pops in there, or I do, the reason for that is primarily because, like, sometimes when I'm listening to music through the speakers, it bleeds into the mic. This happened, true story. I had a 10-hour video, and I had no more than 15 seconds of Red Hot Chili Peppers bleed into my mic from my speakers, and it demonetized the whole video. They didn't take it down, but or block it. But it demonetized the whole thing. So for that kind of thing, having the words on the screen, and of course Twitch will mute it. So having the words on the screen. So I'm talking through logistics of streaming, and I appreciate you guys entertaining some questions on this. So just being honest about why I couldn't watch First Spice Week. Yeah. That time you couldn't see it because it was just I couldn't do it, right? I think I do have an RTX card that could do sound suppression. I'm pretty sure I do. I'm pretty sure I could do that. But my analog setup is probably not going to be able to do it, unfortunately. I think that my board, because I use analog in and out rather than so that my headphones give me a perfect example of what's actually happening. All right, we'll get back to Git here. So let's change the topic to look at that, exactly at noon. So let's change the topic to Git branching, which is the topic. So Git, I'm going to say Git branching, learning Git branching. I'm going to say I'm learning Git branching. How about that? Hashtag Git, hashtag noob, hashtag 100 days of code, hashtag beginner, hashtag coding. I already have live stream, so. All right, so we'll set that as a topic. Just saying, I think they do. All right, so if you're just coming in, wherever you're coming from, everybody knows that when I do a topic change like that, it changes my status on GitHub. It goes to Twitter. It sets the title on YouTube, and it changes the title on Twitch all in one shot. I'm very proud of that little bit of code I wrote, but it requires me to kind of set it up now that we're moving to that. So let me just show you what I found. There's a Git branching tool, video tool, that I found. So we're going through the man page, and that's how we're going to do this. So don't anybody get excited. But somebody once recommended to me a tool I'm going to try to find. I've never used it. I haven't used it in a long time. There's a really, really weird, amazing graphic tool for Git branching. You guys know about this? It's kind of like, it just like really takes you down the, where is it? It's a graphic, gamey kind of thing. Oh, again, I got to go through my knowledge base. If I could search my knowledge base, I could probably find it. I don't know what it is. Right now, I can't find it. Git branching, graphic tool, training. I want to put this in my notes so that it's all there. I don't think it's Git flow. Is it Git flow? I don't know. Is it? Car? I didn't find it useful, but some people might out there. It's not, of course, there. Learning branching. I think this is it. Yeah, this is it. This is it. This is definitely it. There's like an English version. No, it's not Git Kraken. No, God, no. I hate Git Kraken. It's definitely learning Git branching. Locale Japan, not me. This is definitely it. Okay, this is it. If you use Git Kraken, awesome. I know people who use it and they love it, and maybe I have more to learn. Obviously, I have more to learn, so I'm not going to judge it. But so this is the tool. Welcome to Learning Git Branching. You're just in Learning Git. Well, you come to the right place for $5.99. Learning Git Branching is the most visual and interactive way to learn Git on the web. So learnggitbranching.js.org. I'll post that in the chat. For the chat's benefit, I shall post it. There you go. So this was brought to my attention. It's kind of a fun JavaScript-y way to learn Git. Not particularly compelling to me, but it does help you visualize it. That'll tell you that. That's for damn sure. PPS GitHub is largely moving to the naming default main instead of master. Fuck that. In order to accommodate this change in backwards compatible way, these two names have been considered aliases of each other. No, not buying into that. I am not a racist, but I think that's a dumbass decision. So, I mean, the impact that had on the system was not worth it. And we're going to change master and slave disk drives too. The references to slavery are bad. I completely agree with that. Calling a disk drive a slave is bad. Saying things like sent down the river is bad. I probably need to rethink it. But I've never looked at master as being the owner of a slave. I've looked at master as being the main thing. It's like the master branch, the master controller, the master control program. The master control program, that has nothing to do with slavery. Are all of the other programs slaves to the master control program? Oh wait, they are. 'Cause Tron. Anyway, okay. Well, I'm sorry for that tangent, but okay. A nicely paced introduction to the majority of Git commands. Merging in Git. Branching, merging. Could say whitelisting too, right? Or, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I am not the one to make the decision. I am an entitled, wonderful. I mean, I got so many advantages for being a white man in our society. So I'll be the first one to roll over and do whatever anybody tells me to do because I do not have any leg to stand on. If somebody really feels that way and they feel offended by those terms, then I guess I'll accommodate that. Because there's no way I can even distinguish the ways that I've been unknowingly racist over my life because I am the product of an entitled white society. I am definitely the product. I was isolated early in a gifted and talented program, which I absolutely know other people of my age from different races and backgrounds would not have had. So I just have to fucking shut up and listen to what they want. And if that's what they want, fine. But I don't see the logic behind it. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway. That is not a conversation for me to have. You know what else is a conversation for me to have? Women's rights, abortion, any of that stuff. It's none of my business. It's none of my business. I need to listen. So, anyway, let's move on. Learning branching is always something that trips up beginners when starting out with Git. If you stay with the Git CLI when starting out and avoid anything graphical, you may save yourself a lot of headache, hiding one of the biggest strengths of Git. I completely agree. Right. I completely agree with that. And in fact, this is probably the biggest problem I've made with Git is that I have not learned this branch thing. So I'm going to pay a lot of attention to this, mostly because, okay, I'm going to TLDR one of the greatest advantages to branching that answers the question, why branch? And Greg, bless him, Greg, he's in our stream. Greg, during one of our sessions, we're writing a book together. He kind of laid out. I'm sorry for your mental illness. Seek help. That's a fun thing to say, Mr. Anonymous. So one of the things that he said was, that Git branching, that he always defaults to a branch. This is a very well established, very practically trained programmer who's done lots and lots of code, and he defaults to a branch whenever he does anything. His first act to work with any code is to branch. Very first act. And he made the argument that by doing that, it would improve his ability to squash and commit merges and to not ruin the master branch. And it's basically your net. So at several different levels along the way, Git provides a safety net, it seems to me. One of them I'm just discovering is just staging. So if you stage things before you commit, you can oh, I forgot something, and it's kind of but you don't lose it if you delete it. It's kind of your safety net, right? And then, of course, Git in general, you can always Git checkout if you blow something completely away, and that's another layer of safety net. But making your own branch is a tremendously awesome safety net, because you can make a ton of mistakes in your Git process, and because they're being done to the branch, they will never affect the master branch. And even if you think, well, I'm not going to push it until I know what I'm doing, right? The other disadvantage of that is if you do that and you're working in a multi-user environment and you have multiple developers, you can't share any of your changes. So unless you branch, if you don't branch, because if you're queuing up a whole bunch of changes in the master branch, no one can see it. And so this is new to me, because I have not been branch quickly, branch often. Yes. So this particular well-experienced developer says branch immediately. Now remember the paradigm of this use of Git, and this is where I have to clarify. People see me not branching when I'm doing log. They see my Git commits all the time doing log writing, and I'm just updating README files. And the reason I want to talk about this is because I don't want people to misunderstand and to judge me when I'm using Git for that purpose. It's a very different purpose than. So when you're publishing written content to Git, just knowledge source, sometimes you might want to be formal, but usually not. I just want to commit a log entry, and I want it immediately available so people can read it. And I don't need a branch for that. You got a link for it, and then if I want a quick and dirty project, but the people who insist on branching for all the right reasons are usually dealing with formal source code, and that's what we're talking about right now. Okay, so when you see me not branching, it's because I'm operating in the other form. I'm either sandboxing or I'm publishing written content that doesn't need a formal branch, or it wouldn't benefit from multi-user development at all. It's just me saving my content on GitHub. That's the end of it, really. Can we not talk about that political issue right now? Thank you. Big check me. Yeah, there we go. So it is absolutely not a myth, but I don't want to talk about that right now. Yeah, that's your. I mean, that's objectively false, and there's overwhelming evidence of that. So let's go on. Here's a Python implementation of Node.js when you're thing. Which one is that? The package commitizen implementation. What are we looking at? Always rules for beginners. More about muscle memory for the always rules to beginners. Always rules. Yeah, I agree. Cinelipals. I completely agree that is a really great way to go. Is to practice branching. Basically, what I want. The reason I put this in my notes is I want to distinguish how I'm using Git. I'm going to be using Git a lot. So when I'm using Git, when I'm going to turn on my formal source code brain, I want to immediately branch. I want to do git stage add, the git adds to the staging and look at staging all the time, checking my cache all the time. I want to be able to activate a cognitive state where I am operating in formal source code mode, and that is my go-to, but that it is kind of a flip switch. And then when I'm operating in, I just want to save this README file state, I can flip the switch back to that and know where I'm operating from. And have a nice clean separation cognitively about what's going on, and that's where the branching thing comes in. Send a message to remove that other message from your screen. I can't. Yeah, you can go ahead and remove those other dumb messages. I mean, we're going to start to get that. There's always going to be dumbasses commenting. It's permanently burned into the video, and we're going to get that all the time. There's no way I can avoid that. And I mean, I can chase people down and all of that, but The funny thing too is that people that do that kind of thing don't realize that they're doing it in a forum where there are a lot of people with some exceptionally good skills for tracking people down. So if you're tempted to like spew your political agenda or troll us, just know who you're dealing with. I'm just gonna say that once. It's the only time you're gonna hear from me. It's a remarkably dangerous thing to do. I'm just gonna put it that way. It's all I'm gonna say. So I mean, if you're dumb enough to put that shit in my chat, I feel really bad for you, because there's going to be somebody who's going to see it who has a very specific set of skills. So you might want to watch what you say. I'm not canceling you. I'm just asking you to be a community member and contribute to the conversation at hand. And I did take the conversation down that master main path. Apologize for that. So, but that was the topic, and that's why I had to say something about it. You can see the Git is a tool on how effective to Git workflows depending on what you're doing. If you have a notes repo, everything goes straight to master. If you're doing work for an enterprise app, we have one flow. For home project, you have another. Exactly. Those are the 3 states card that I just wrote for myself. I just kind of named it my own way. How's it going, Christopher? And so we're going to put this here. This has been really useful. Appreciate this. So we're doing branching. That's what we're doing here. And I'm kind of excited actually, because branching is the one thing I've not really been doing a lot of, and so this is one of the reasons I started an examination of Git from the total get-go. There's like a collection of puns I couldn't have come up with. A bare repo for dots. I have that. I have a bare repo for my dot files. Yeah. So yeah, it's fantastic. Okay, a single Git repo can maintain multiple branches. GNU Stow for dots. A single Git repo can maintain multiple branches of development. To create a new branch named experimental, use git branch experimental. And let's see. To create a new branch named experimental, use git branch experimental. Okay, yeah, I know that. Now, if you run git branch, you'll see the branches. I know that. I know about the get checkout also. That's a thing, right? And you can do that with the branch too. I'm trying to find the practical usage of that, but we'll get to that. And let's keep going here. You get a list of the existing branches, and it takes you to master or main or whatever. The experimental branch is one that you just created. Just kind of think. So Git branches can be thought of as having 2 roles. One, a branch is a flavor of the same software. And 2, just as a side rail which developers can temporarily use to commit it back to master. So why would you use branches? That's a good topic. Let's talk about that. So in the strangest case of branching that I've ever heard of, GitHub Pages originally made you create a branch with a specific name that had nothing but HTML, but Markdown and HTML content. And it had nothing to do at all with the main content, and I felt that was really bad. I actually opened a ticket on that and suggested. I don't. It's a long time ago. I don't remember the details, but that was one of the reasons they changed to add docs within the main branch, because the documentation is considered a part of the main branch rather than having separate branches to separate. Basically, to have separate sources of that. I think that's a horrible idea. So that would be one thing not to do with branches. Don't make branches to make essentially multiple repos all in the same repo. People do that. You know, they'll fork off a branch or they'll do a branch just because they want to add. Branches are largely for experimentation that are going to be designed to be merged back in, or they're a way I'm finding now that's a flavor of the software, right? Some people will actually leave a branch that is a separate flavor. I like that word of the whole thing, and then they'll keep it separate permanently. It's like, okay, this one has this thing in it, and this one has this thing in it, but they're largely both the same, and they can kind of cross-pollinate, right? I don't know if I would be as big a fan of that unless there was a lot of crossover between the source code, personally. But I'm a more granular kind of organizer anyway. And 2 is a side rail which developers, you're getting stuff ready, temporary. The main reason to do this, the reason they always tell you is that I've read before, is their main branch is just, I want to support the production master line. So for bug fixes and stuff like that, I'm working on a new feature. So I fork off a branch that's exploring a new way of doing it. And I had great success with this on the Pagan project, because I actually forked off a branch, ran down this rabbit hole idea to see if it was going to work, and then was able to chuck the whole thing and say, now that doesn't work. And then I could come back to master. Sometimes when I do that, the branch itself will, in that case, it informed decisions to make stuff direct changes to master. But now that I understand branching a little bit better, I would have thrown that branch away, made a new branch, kept out all the concepts that I learned about from the other one, and then merged that back into main, or master, whatever you want to call it. And so that's I think should be the default behavior, and I need to get better at doing that. So that's why I'm doing this. You certainly can't have a multi-user system without this. And the GitHub is already set up to understand pull requests with a branch, which makes it really strong, right? Because it'll detect the branch and it will say, oh, another thing I like about this too is, let's say you throw GitHub out the window, you're not even using it, and I'd love to hear what Carr and other people have to say about this. So I told in my learning path, I want to get good with Git without dependency on GitHub at all. So let's say I just had Git. Yet again, branching comes in, right? So branching would be a way for me to say, let's say there's no GitHub, right? No GitHub at all. I make a branch. I say, here's my branch. Here's the features in my branch. Here's all the commits from my features in the branch, all of which can be read. So I send an email off to whoever, the upstream people. I say, hey, I got this branch prepared. Have a look at it. They pull my branch, read about the branch on the command line, and they say, yeah, that looks pretty good. And then they merge the branch without any GitHub. And that is actually, branches should be short-lived. One reason to have long-lived branches is to maintain multiple versions, right? Hot fixes and stuff like that. Yeah, I agree with that. So that process I just described has no GitHub involved at all. And I'm learning more and more that a lot of core projects don't even do that. I've learned that a lot of core projects don't do this. There are a lot of core projects that they just use email. In fact, what was the tool where people use GitHub? I mean, whether people use email only. With logging in, subscribing, right? You should do it without using GitHub or GitHub at first. Yeah, absolutely, Peter. That's totally my plan. That's actually even in my individual learning plan. Yeah, let me show this. So I put in my ILP, Git for team software development without. So I literally, Peter, were you the one helping me write this? No, you don't even need a private repo. You don't need any service at all. So I need to be able to participate in large software development projects with multiple capable, prolific contributors and be able to wrangle them, contributing to my own open projects with zero dependency on any service provider. The Linux team does not use a hosting service. They mirror to a hosting service. The people who made Git don't use GitHub other than mirroring. And I like that. I really like that. It means that you have to have other forums for conversation, but a lot of these people are using email, they're using mailing lists, and they're using IRC for those communications, and they're not necessarily bundling them all up in a dependency on Microsoft's GitHub. And I want to be able to do that. I don't want to say send me a PR request in GitHub and make that the only way to do it. I want you to be able to send me an email that says, I've committed this to my upstream branch. Do you want to pull down my branch? And you can actually add in Git when you know what you're doing. I haven't got there yet, but you can add another remote. You can have multiple remotes, and you can pull that remote in and say, okay, I want this branch of that remote. And then you could switch over to that remote, look at all its changes, and then merge that all on your system from the command line without any GitHub dependency. The popular way GitHub OS projects will throw away history to maintain a clean branch, right? Yeah, and GitHub of course facilitates all of that, but I think, I don't know, I feel like there's this kind of came about from people saying, well, why do you even use it? Because I was considering going to Git, this whole GitLab, GitHub thing, which one to use, blah, 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 and dependencies, and them canceling repos because they don't like them, or they're GCMA or whatever. Having that level of control just terrifies me. So I was like, well, what if I did my own thing? What if I just made a Git repo on host someplace? And like, what are the extra things you'd have to do? Do I even need Git for that? Do I have to have a graphic interface? What if everybody who's contributing to my project is all terminal based anyway? Well, GitHub terminals, the terminal interface certainly helps with that, but why not just use Git commands and IRC the person and say, hey, set my remote, I got a branch for you. I mean, if you truly know how to use Git, you don't need any of that shit. You don't need any of it. And so my first goal in my learning plan is to be zero dependent on GitHub. And that means really, really mastering branches if I want to. And then that's what we do for Ocean model configs at your lab. Yeah, there's a lot of people who do this, but it's a more advanced approach, of course. But that's what I'm looking at level 4 Git stuff, not level 3 or 2 or 1, right? I'm looking for level 4 usage of Git, which is zero dependency on GitHub, and then obviously layering in GitHub usage later. Actually, this should be ahead of that. Actually, I should do this. I don't even know if I need it actually, but I should probably do this. Yeah, GitHub Actions and all that stuff. Integrations more than UI. Yeah, I think Git has some other offerings that I'm not aware of, but people grab Git because they want a graphic replacement for GitHub, and that I think is not enough for me. Anyway, so this fundamentally depends on branching, which is why I'm talking about branching now. Since the man page shifted to branching, it's worth talking about why you should learn branching and how come the way that I want to learn branching. Mixed tools and GitHub is a lot of information about code is getting lost in pull requests and merge requests. Information that should go into your commit messages. GitHub GitLab issues and PRs and comments are lost and hard to migrate. That is a fantastic insight, Carr. I'm going to quote you directly from my notes, but I cannot put you into my quotes because it's a little bit big. But I love that. Thank you so much. I'm going to say concepts and observations. This is fantastic. Thank you so much for that. GitHub I love GitHub. Don't get me wrong. I'm with you. But it's like, do we want to build in a dependency on that, right? So I already have a leader for this one. I'm not doing it. Okay. There we go. I'll get back to this a bit. Give me a second and what? Did I break it? I think I did. There we go. All right, that's good enough for now. I'll fix it later. Okay, so we'll put add car or something. Pull request, merge request. All right, let me come back to that later. Security is like onions; they have layers. Yes, totally are. So the experimental branch is just one that you created, and the master branch is a default branch that was created for you automatically. Pardon me. The asterisk marks the branch that you're currently typed. Is there any? Can I just ask? I'm sorry to rehash this question about naming. I don't want to get into the politics of the naming again. Let's avoid that, please. But my question is there any discussion in the Git community itself for changing the default name? And again, I don't want to open that can. I just want to know if it's happening or not. Git flow versus GitHub flow. Ooh, that looks like an interesting read. And put that in the resources. We're kind of crowdsourcing a bunch of notes here, which is like my perfect world. Yeah, I'll go open that one up. Nice. Thank you for that. If anybody else has any really great links that they want to add to the list of resources, please let me know, and I'll put them out there for everybody to share. This is just going on my personal notes for now, but I might bake it into an actual tutorial someday. Probably not, but at least you'll have the notes. Yeah. Not from the Git community. Okay, and then that's worth not running down. I don't feel the need to run that down if that's true. I just trying to see how this documentation might change eventually. Okay, so experimental branch is just one created. What time is it? Okay, I'm gonna take a break here pretty soon. I need a little bit of a longer break. We are 2:11. I think I'm gonna limit the streams to 3 hours, and I'm gonna force myself to fit content in 3 hour blocks with a coffee break or two in there. So that means we have 40 minutes left before I have to end this session, and I'll come back. Experimental. Okay, so Git switch experimental. Healthy streaming. Yeah, right. Sustainable streaming. And I'm an all or nothing kind of guy. It's always been what I'm always trying to find the middle path. It's tough. Git switch experimental. Okay, that I know about. I don't think I knew about switch. Switch is a command? Why did I not know about switch all this time? I've never seen switch before. I thought it was check out whatever master. Does that still work? There's probably lots of content out there that does that. So Git CO branch, right? That's what I learned. Git CO branch. I must have a new version of Git. I like switch a lot better. I was always confused by the checkout thing. Hey, you guys learned something. You really amazing people. So Git commit A, by the way, adds the most recent adds in case you haven't done them. It's kind of a safe thing to do if you don't want to do git add and then whatever. So again, it's all related to your staging directory. So let's go try that out. Let's type exit here. Let's put a thing here. This was my git learn. What's up with 3? Oh, that was my ILP. I can keep that up, I guess. All right, so checkout is different in other contexts too, like subversion. Oh my God. So yeah, again, I love that. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm glad you said that, Ptolemy, because when I came to this, I was from subversion. I was like, well, checkout means that I've locked it. No one else can do anything to it. I'm like, nope, that's not what that means. That's not what that means. So that, yeah, I'm on board with this. This is interesting. Okay, so I want to play with it. I mean, the best way to learn with something is to mess around with it, right? So let's try this. So, okay. Let's do that. Still getting it since yesterday, I see. Oh yeah, Enders. You betcha. It's going to take me a while to get it. We can do this all day. There's also a million puns with go. Oh no. What was it doing? Stop distracting me. Readme. Another change. Yet another change. And git status. Ooh, I have a file that's been modified, not even staged. Wait. I need a branch, don't I? TIG, fancy Git with colors and menus, still ASCII. I've heard that. I've heard TIG is really good. I've heard some really like it. Question. You know what? I'll put that in my list since you said it. I'm gonna put it in the list. TIG. Just so I don't forget. Switch looks interesting. I'm not going to get git CO out of my muscle memory. Right. Well, CO is kind of fast, but switch seems like it. Does it have a short version? Well, we're going to find out. All right, so stay tuned. Let's see if we do git. So normally on something, I have a question. So this is a legitimate question. Let's say I start making changes to the master branch and I forget to branch. What do I do? Do I stash the changes? So let's say I come into my repo this is a very likely scenario for me because I'm cognitively switching between just a simple master repo with notes, you're fired, and a repo. So let's say I come in and I'm like, I forget, you're fired. Everybody's with the you're fired. I haven't done any commit yet. You people are harsh. Oh my God, I don't want to work for you. Third person who would fire me for doing this. Oh my God. Fine. Well, I better learn it then. If it gets benched. My point is, after you've staged changes, what do? Do you unstage the changes, branch, and then restage the changes? I think that's the thing to do, right? I'm just asking because I need to understand this really well, or I'm going to get fired. Apparently. Oh my God. Didn't you know you're new to Git branching? I am. I've been talking about Git branching all day. I am new to Git branching because I haven't had a need for it for the last 8 years. I've been running my own fucking country. Everything's on main because I'm the only one answering to the whole thing, and my open source contributions are minimal, and I can do a PR request for that. So that's why I'm coming at this like this. I'm an experienced developer who doesn't know Git branching. Sue me. And go easy. And don't fire me. Hire me. I need a job, which is why I'm doing this. Mortgage and insurance. That's the only reason I want a job, by the way. Can you reset the master of the original? Branching pull the stage down changes. I think branching pulls the stage changes, right? You had a need. You just did not know it. True. Do you have to unstage? You can just check out a new branch. No, that's the question. The question is, so checking out your new branch. Git co-master, git reset hard, origin master. Shit. Why do you need all of that? I get it, but I've seen git reset. You don't want to git restart hard unless you know what you're doing. That's like the rm-rf of Git. So, yeah. I mean, I'm sure I can get good with that, but that's like experimenting with rm-rf. Not a good idea. You know, you'd be damn sure you know what you're doing with that. Or Perl Pi. So I'm really, really confident with Perl Pi, which changes every file in place recursively. I'm really, really confident with that command, but you give that command to any newbie and they will destroy something. They will absolutely destroy something in really creative ways that they didn't expect. So yeah, anytime you put git reset in your suggestions, I'm going to pause. That's all I'm saying. RM is, yeah, it's RM to RM dot. I like to live dangerously. Are you kidding? No. Just no. I understand why, but no. What's deleted my whole system live and talk? Yeah. Live in a talk? Oh, dry coder, you're funny. Thanks for coming by the way. Just make sure there was no raid here happening that I missed. In case people want to be noticed. Okay, so we've agreed that I might be out of my depth at this point. So the question is very simply, you got hex chat, nice. Be careful with hex chat. It doxes your IP if you care about such things. You don't really need to, but if you do, you should know that. I stole your Py command today for some stuff I needed to do. Fortunately, I had my files committed because I messed things up. Yeah, because you get the regex wrong, right, inevitably. If you want to do that without killing yourself, you can practice it with just a find and replace first. That will just print out the changes. It'll tell you what files would change. But yeah, it's pretty damn dangerous. You do know that if you can use .i with a suffix and then it just creates a bunch of copies. The problem with that is you have to move those copies into the place over the top of the other file. It's really annoying. So it's better to try your Py command a few times on a test thing and then do the whole thing. So yeah, it's pretty dangerous. Yeah, okay, so a separate safe Py that did stood out. Yeah, that's another way. Look, read about .i. If you read Perl Run, you'll see it. There's a couple of them in there. It's extremely dangerous, so don't do it unless you're doing it. And which is me, right, with rebase. So we haven't even touched rebase, so I would rather not. The question I have before me is, what do I do if I've staged a file right now with what I know? based on everything I know. I don't know everything yet, but based on everything I know, what I would do if I went, oh shit, I need to branch, right? So let's pretend I did this. Let's pretend I did this. I made a change, and my content is in stage 2. Hiya, what's up? What is this, broth? Oh, so good. She made broth. It's gonna make me pee.
I sent you
I'm gonna take a break here pretty soon. You sent me a tweet?
Yeah, you gotta see it, but it's a video of a history teacher questioning his Gen Z class about historical figures and history things, and they have no clue. And I was just like,
That's terrifying.
my unschooler is way more educated.
Yeah, makes you feel good about your unschooled kid.
Helen Keller was.
What?
They were like, isn't it that
Oh my God.
German terrorist guy? It's too funny. And then he's like, well, what's D-Day? Is that a rapper?
Hey, D-Day was a rapper?
It's so funny. But
Modern
it's
education
not
system.
when you think about it.
My wife made this years ago. This is one of your first mugs, right?
It is. It's
Like,
one of my first good ones.
like very, very first mugs. I think you made it probably 2 or 3 years ago.
Longer.
Like you were
That was
getting.
when I made that little studio space in Otto's room.
Yeah, I
upstairs
remember
at
it.
Cornelius.
Yes,
in
that was
corner.
crazy. That's crazy. My wife is very, very, very. Yeah. Little D-Day. If she can make pho, oh God, yes. She makes it regularly. I have a Chinese son, stepson. Dude, she can make. Why do you think I can't keep the weight off? It does. It does mean that there are. Oh, well, there's no bones in this one. This is a basic one. Yeah, pulverized bones. My wife is a techie when she needs to be. She taught herself C to code some stuff for one of her sculptures on an Arduino. True story. She's freaking brilliant, but she's largely an artist, and she only uses tech when she needs to. She prepared a summer camp doing art with Arduino too. She made the coolest experiment where you attach 2 electrodes to a alligator clip electrodes kind of things to an piece of aluminum, and she ran it through a program on an Arduino with a sound, and you can touch the aluminum in different places, or have 2 people touch the aluminum, and it changes the frequency of the sound. It's the coolest shit ever. So you can basically play a piece of aluminum just by touching it on an Arduino. Yeah, she installed the C code for that and tweaked it and stuff. Yeah, the technology is just so amazing. And yeah, anyway. So, you generally, coding is art at some degree. I say code is art all the time. Git might not be, but code is. Back to Git. Made a theorem. Is that what it is? I don't even know. I don't know. I probably should know. Where did you learn that? Cinna Nipples. I can't say your name without laughing. I can't. Did I say it right, by the way? Cinna Nipples. I cannot focus. Probably time for me to take a full-time break. How many minutes I got? God damn it, I only got 30 minutes left. All right, here we go. There's some people with names in here that I just can't say. They can't pronounce them, or I shouldn't pronounce them. And I'm not going to judge you. I'll be the last one to judge you, but I just think it's fine. All right, so I'm back to pretending. Good old Git status. Got my brain back online. Git status. I'll do a random Git status just to remember what the fuck I was doing. And in this case, that's how it said. Oh, really? I was an electronic. Okay, Cinna-Lipples, all right. Electronics technician, sweet. See, I would love to have been that. I'm not. I want to be. I want to be like you. I want to be cool. I can do shit, but that's the stuff I aspire to. It makes me feel like a little newbie kindergarten kid, and then I'm all excited. I got that feeling of like learning something new, Don't lose that, people. Don't ever lose that. Okay, so and right now it's Git. I'm so excited to do Git branching properly. And you're like, oh my god, this dude. You think he would know that by now? I don't. I'm learning it. There are a lot of videos on YouTube that will teach you electronics, obviously. Yeah, and that's good old autodidactic resources, aka Salman Khan's favorite way to learn and teach. I have a staged commit. It's not a commit. It's a staged / cached / indexed thing. Wait, why does it say restore staged now instead of cached? Can I, this is very odd to me. I feel like I'm running a different version of Git for some reason. Didn't it tell me to RM last time? I could have swore it told me to RM last time. I'm just testing this see if that works. Oh God. Apparently that's not a thing. All right, so Git. Oh, that just removes the changes. That's right. If you have extra changes out there and you want to remove them without removing the file, which is really important, make sure you put -- cache, otherwise your file will disappear with no ability to get it back because it's not staged. Yeah, always do -- cache. Okay, great. Good to know. So git restore -- stage. I hate it when there's more than one way to do things. I really do. But I understand why that is. There's like the deprecated way and the new way, which is apparently what switch is. God, I learned that right. Get restore stage. Readme. Does that make it red again? Yes. It's in the working state again. Working index / cache / staged committed pushed. Get reset does the same thing. Really? Get reset scares me though. Does it do it for the whole thing? Alright, I'm gonna try that. Touch another. Touched by another. Put foo in there, because foo is the proper thing to put in a random file. Alright, so then we do this git add dot. Everything in the current directory non-recursively. Correct? And then I do git status, and it's all there, and I want to restore them all. I'm like, oh shit, I don't want to do any of that. I want to do so git reset dot. That looks really scary to me, but it seems to have done the right thing because readme was already committed. So there. How do I see? Oh, git, because this is all unstaged, so I can do, so git diff is nothing. Git diff will not show me anything because there's nothing staged, right? Yet another change, and we have a new file. Index something else. So there we go. Index. This says that we have a new file. It doesn't tell me I have a new file though. I did a whole video on that. Oh boy. What's up with try that one. Patch is the most awesome one. The most awesomest. Well, I'm gonna trust you. You know what you're doing. So git add dot git status git reset -p dot. I can remember that. What does that do? Whoa, it prints out the change while you're doing it. Unstage this hunk. It's a hunk. Not a chunk. It's not a diff. It's a hunk. Git add -p. Seriously. So it says, do you want to really do that thing? Unstage this hunk. Yes, no. I have a question. I don't even know what that is. I did not know this. But it doesn't show anything about the file. The file is obviously not being changed. Yes, I want to unhunk that. I don't know what that means. Oh, this is interactive now. So it's like, I got another one for you. Here it is. I got a new file. A new file called another. You want to do that one? Yes. Nice. I want to save that in my favorites. Because it seems useful. Git add and reset. I don't know where to see stuff, delete tags, interactively. I mean, I'm gonna put add stuff, and yeah, add stuff. So we're gonna put add stuff. We'll put git add dot. Is like that's like everything in the current file. Current dir only. Read, writing, and executing, people. So reading about it, writing about it, and then executing it in order for it to stick. RWX. So dash A is a git current directory and all subdirs recursively. Found that out the other day. Process of discovery. Should be top of the Git manual. You think it should? What's up with is that's dash P, right? You're into the dash P, right? I'll put that in my quotes here. I'm gonna put that in here. Dash patch flag should be top of the Git manual. I at least want to be able to understand why you would say that. And I think that's part of it. Why isn't that working? I need to backtick this guy probably. Yeah, that'll definitely help. All right, so what's up with my smart quote not working? Fuck that. It's on my own code actually. I added the smart quotes. My smart quote does not like it. How about that? There we go. Fine. It's because it's not a it's not an ASCII thing. Yeah. Git unless you do what Rob is doing now. You think so? Yeah. Hunk is the smallest unit of changes between two files found without diffusers, something like this. There's no way to, yeah. So, tries to minimize the total hunk size by finding large sequences of common lines interspersed with, yeah, I remember that. Keeping my eyes on it. So. We're going to come over here. We're going to do it this way. Yeah, reset-p is just like blowing my mind. So I need to put that someplace that I will remember it. Even if it's redundant, it's my own. If you make your own notes and documentation, they stick with you better. So that's why I'm doing it. Reading, writing, executing. Exercising. X is for execute or exercise. So that's how you learn shit. And I don't know where to put this, so I'm just going to put it right here. Resetting. It's like, oh shit, recovery. I'm going to have a whole section on oh shit recovery methods. So in this particular case, it's like I have kind of a sub thing. I staged and need to undo it. So that would be, if you want to do it sort of interactively, I'm going to use this idea, git reset-pi. Reset-pi. Define SP. Me getting this one here when it gets me excited. Yeah, well, what do you think I mentor? Because there's a lot of things that I've been doing when I code and that I've been doing over the years, and I'm like, don't start out that way. Try this thing, and then of course they can bring new information to the table I might not know about as well. But I like to be able to throw that out there early on. VI, for example, nobody knows how to do this. They don't know how to do that, and so I throw that out right away when they learn VI. If you don't know that, you don't know VI. So make sure people learn that early. That's why I do things like this, because there's stuff you may not have heard about. Who knows how to make a thing run without their aliases? So I have ls, right? It does color. If I ever wanted to run ls without having it be a type, how do you do that? How do you turn it off? /ls. Now it runs the one that's the binary by disabling all the aliases and function exports. Shit like that I learned on stream from other people. So I'm making the case that, you know, there's a reason to share your knowledge with others. And I'm selfish in this because I want people to start producing notes like Carr, to produce their own notes and be able to share those things. Because these little tidbits, these little tips from the trenches, these are gold. These are fucking gold. All this stuff that Carr is saying, this is gold. And if we can figure out a way to share that and not lose efficiency in our day jobs, the world would be a better place. So, and so now I know about -p, and I know about branching because another friend of mine insisted. I know about Vim macros because another friend insisted. I've been doing Vim my whole life, and I never wanted to use Vimisms like a macros, and now I use them all the time. And I love them. And so these are all just little things that add up to something significant that would never be contained in a book. And the only way that happens is by exchanging knowledge, hence the knowledge exchange grid. That's my sales pitch. Get with the pink back in the cover 3 times before it doesn't. Yeah. Okay, so it's always more fun to do it this way too, isn't it? Right? It's much more fun to do it this way. And, like, I love books, but all right, enough talk. What am I doing? Back to experimentation. X in RWX. With 3. I get for software. That's my plan. I don't need that. I need the man page. Get switch. So let's try. We haven't actually done a branch. So again, I'm experimenting now. I'm reminded of what I was doing. So I was trying to do. Do I always need to merge the latest master into my own branch? I don't know. I imagine so. That's not a question for me. I would probably ask somebody more experienced. You're talking about pulling down the latest? I would say so. But again, if you're working on a branch, you don't need to worry about it, right? Or do you? I guess you do need to sync your branch with your that's an advanced, that's a level 4 technique that I don't know yet. I know there's a way to do it because I've read about it, where you pull down the changes to master and then you merge the changes from master into your current branch to make sure there's no conflicts in anything you've added with what's been merged in the master branch. I absolutely know that that's a workflow and a task you have to do, but I don't know how to do it reliably. I need to learn that. So here we go. Stage is not changed for commit. I need to check my mail real quick. I'm supposed to be waiting for recruiter interviews. Just give me a sec. Take me 1 sec. I need to take a break after this for sure, because I'm getting really flow state into this. Okay, no notifications so far about that. I have to watch my email really sharply because I'm doing it full-time job interviews this week. All right, so back. Anyway, here's where I am at. I've got something. I actually pulled it all the way back, but now I'm gonna do a pretend oh shit moment. All right, 5 people told me I would be fired for doing what I'm about to do, so I want to learn how to recover it from doing this on accident. True story. Go back and read in the chat. They're like, what would happen if I did this? How do I get out of it? They said, well, you get fired. I'm like, well, okay. So git add readme, git status, and now I'm having an oh shit moment. My oh shit is, oh shit, I made some changes and I've staged them and I didn't do a branch. And everyone said, you're fired. I haven't committed it, thank God. I haven't pushed it, but it's in the master branch. Committing shit to the master branch apparently is like a fireable offense. Everybody agrees on this. Everyone I've talked to said that this is a major, major big deal. If you commit anything, first of all, you shouldn't have access to the master branch, period. You should be, I mean, that's another way to get around that, right? And that's sort of what GitHub is helping separate that. So I need to roll it back. Somebody has told me, is it master? Yes, let's not talk about master in the main. Master is still the default in Git, and therefore I'm using the word master. No, GitHub is all about main, not Git. We have determined that the Git project still uses master as the default. GitHub can use main as the default all they want. The reason that when you do Git and it gives you a Git origin master suggestion is because in the Git project itself, it's okay with master. So I am learning it with master, and I am assuming that there's no racial intent. I'm just doing what's there. Do you recommend Linux pen tester cybersecurity analysts? Yes, absolutely. Why would you ask that question? Yes, that's off topic. So staging and then branching. So here we go. Now I'm doing this, right? So Git. I believe the oh shit moment is resolved most easily with a Git I was going to do git unstage, which is git restore whatever, but I have learned from the chat, from Carr in the chat, that I can just do a git reset dot dash p. Is that what you said? And that says, oh, I have this one thing I want to reset to. I want to unstage this hunk. Yes, unstage. And now my git status says I'm good to go. It's like, phew, okay, now I can branch, right? So now I can branch. So then I can do the git. I have to look at the commands for branch because it's just git branch, right? I thought it was check out a new branch. I thought that was what you were supposed to do before. There's a way to do this in one step that I don't know. I like the -p2, and you can thank Carr for that. I didn't know about that. That helps you kind of know what you're backing out, right? Particularly because you're doing a dot. You don't have to remember a command beyond that. You can commit the changes and a branch. The alternative to this, of course, would have been to do, like it says, to do like a git restore dash cache on every single thing individually. But by doing a git reset, apparently it pulls it back out nicely. Check out -b. Thanks, Lamar. Sorry, no commit stash. I could have stashed it. See, I don't even talk about stashing yet because I know I need to learn it, and I don't want to confuse how to just roll back the oh shit thing that I just did. So now it's time for me to branch. All right, so I need to branch. And so apparently this is how to do this. So git branch, I know about that one. Okay, so we're gonna do long way first, right? So stick with the long way first. Git needs a don't fire me bro option. Git branch, it tells me the branches, and I want to do a git branch. I'm going to call it new feature. How about that? New feature of some kind. Git branch. I'm just experimenting. Hey, look, it's 1 o'clock. Burned up full hour fast. But see, I'm still on master, so I need to switch. And up until today, the way to do this was git co-b blah 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 blah. But we just all learned, some of us, some Git veterans here learned today, thank God, that you can do a what if, yeah, or yeah, so many strange words, yeah. So now we can do git switch, apparently, new feature, and now I do git branch, and I see I'm on the new. I love that new command. Amen, brother, for that like new command that's now there, because that makes so much more sense. This goes why am I checking it out, you know? So there we go. Yeah, or dry run. Go has dry run. Lots of things have dry run. So there you go. So now I'm in the right branch. Git switch, nice. Yeah, a lot of people who are Git veterans did not know about git switch until today, which is, if nothing more, that's just, you know, made it useful for me to go through as a beginner, because I am a beginner on those topics. And then what? So I'm going to make a change to my new feature here. Well, I don't think any of that's in the main branch. Let's go back. Let's see. Wait, don't I have to check it out? Don't I still have to check it out? This is the part that always drives me nuts. I hate this. Okay, when you switch between branches, it doesn't change the content until you do something else. And alias framework get stuff, yeah, most people do. I have that too. Yeah, I have some of that stuff, but I don't think it's a good practice to do that until you've done it for a good month or two using the defaults. I'm all for aliases. God knows I'm for aliases and for, you know, scripts for everything, but not until you learn the commands. In fact, I'm going to blame my lack of understanding of Git on a command I made called save, which I've been using for the last 8 years, that has protected me from ever using the word Git on my command line other than to do git config. And it was a bad idea. Don't do that. It was a bad idea. Don't do that. Because then I became dependent on my save command, and Lundmar is like, see, I told you. He loves to say that, so I'll give him that chance to say that right now if he wants to. Yeah, the reason I did that is because I was shielding, it was stage 2 for children that are learning Git. I know you're not. I'm just giving you a hard time. So stage 2 for the children I was helping, I was like, I am not teaching them Git right now. And so that's why I made the command. And then I ended up using it all the time. And abusing it, frankly. So, yeah, I know. Keep your aliases to a minimum. Use them less than writing, no complex scripting. I find myself really annoyed by git commit -m all the time, or git commit even though I have tab completion and everything. So I get really close to making aliases for that stuff. But you know, again, don't do it until you know the real stuff. So what is the real thing? So this is the annoying thing, right? So I just made a new branch, but I don't even know what's on the branch. Okay, so what branch am I on? I'm on a branch, and let's add this. Let's get stage. No, git add dot, which adds everything in the current directory, but not subdirectories. And I do git status, and I have it all there. And then what? If I change to a different branch, what happens? What happens? So say I have a bug, and I'm not ready to commit yet on this particular thing, and I want to change. Very common thing, right? So git branch will show me all my branches. Then I go git branch master, and that will actually git switch master. But I don't know if I'm going to like the switch command, because I have a feeling it's not going to actually check the shit out. Oh, it did. Oh my god, I've been wanting this command forever. I've been wanting this command forever. Wait, it didn't do it. It's still staged. Fuck. That's just not cool. I am not understanding. Because now master's got all this junk in my git commit, so now I can't fix master. Then this is where checkout comes in, right? So this is the way I originally learned it, and now I'm wondering what switch value is. You have to stash first. Yeah, but you have to stash before you switch? I want it to do all of that automatically. Hey Bruno. Get messages for creating changelog. Coincidentally, someone shared this to me at work. Or they will go with you. So does that mean that they're staged in this branch also? It does, right? Please read. What is that about, Bruno? What is that about? Please read. Release PR is inconvenient. Oh, it's a PR thing? Nice. Let me add it to my log. I'm going to add it to my resources log. A lot of people have been providing great resources. Appreciate it. I'll pull this in. So put that one there too. Thank you for that. Save that. All right. I think staging is a branch independent state. That would explain a lot. That is a core concept. That has to go into my core concepts. Staging area is global, not branch specific. Two people have said a very important concept that I was not getting. I'm going to put it in here. Staging slash cache slash index is global state, not basically does not belong to any branch. That is so important. So mentally, I can imagine that like being, like if I was working on a watch, like Mr. Horologist, right? I would have the fine piece of art right there, and maybe I was working on that sort of thing. And in order to go over here and say, okay, I need to put this project aside, so I stash it, and I pull out another project, and now I can work on that. But maybe I have some tools that I'm going to be using, some little components that are on both things, and they're still laying around unless I stash them, move them on. I don't know, finding ways to mnemonically associate what's happening when I do this. Stash same. If you stash some changes you did on any branch, this helps me really understand. Git switch is experimental. Well, they told me to use it in the man page in the tutorial, so how is that experimental? Every beginner is reading the tutorial. It's the first thing they're reading, so they're going to do it. If it's experimental, then so be it, but why would you put it in the tutorial without a caveat? Not blank to branch. How many minutes do we have? I can only go until I only have 10 more minutes. Okay. I mean, I'm going to come back to this content later. I need to put a break on the 3-hour mark, take a significant break, and do other things, and then come back at it. I don't know what time that'll be, by the way. I'm going to update my calendar. All right, so git doc say experimental. Well, the tutorial on the man page, which has been wrong about some of the other things, currently says that's the way to do it. So I'm going to go by that. If that's not true, then someone make sure that we get an issue opened on it or something. Anyway, so what I want to know is what are the actual files on master? And I don't want to get into stage right now. My first question when it comes to stashing is, do the stashes relate to a branch? And the answer is no. Okay, so we've answered that staging area doesn't relate to a specific branch, but does stashing associate those would-be staged files with a branch? Sounds like no as well. And I'm kind of jumping the gun here, but I kind of want to understand this. So let me go back to the other branch. So git switch master new feature. Stash is not associated with a branch. Stash is local only. All right. So git status. Still have that. Git branch. Oopsie. And so what you're saying. So I could have stashed. So it doesn't matter when you stash. If I were to accidentally change branches and go, oh shit, I didn't stash, I can still stash without going back to the branch, stashing and then returning back to the branch, because the stash has nothing to do with any of the branches. True statement. True or false, right? And if that's true, that saves me some unnecessarily redundant steps to go back from my oh shit moment. Right? Let's say, oh, I have a bug, I need to change over to master. I'm going to master, and I'm like, whoops. Switch master. So now I have, what I don't understand is this, why would it give you modified and added files and stuff? I think that's showing you how that particular branch would be modified by what's currently in your commit, in your staging area. I think that's what's showing you. That's what that's showing you, because that is actually an indicator that you forgot to stash something. So that's interesting. So when you do git switch, it's going to compare your current staging area with what is in your current within that branch, and it's going to tell you what it's going to do. It's getting ready to do, but it hasn't done because it's git status, does that. But that's also a reminder that, hey, I forgot to stash something. But you're not going to be able to switch branches if your changes conflict with a new branch, right? But they don't. The new branch, I would never do that anyway. You can only have one stash too, right? I'm getting ahead of myself. There's a section on stash and I haven't done. So git stash. State as blah blah blah. So git status. Now I have nothing here. Stash has layers and an index. Nice. Okay. So stash is a heap model, isn't it? I forgot about that. Stash uses a heap model, right? It's like you pop a stash off the top. Yeah, I forgot about that. I read about that someplace. That's a different topic. We'll get there. It's a stack, right? A stack, not a heap. Yeah. All right. So. Right. Okay. So it's this stash is a stash. We're not there yet, but we'll get there. I only have 10 minutes. I want to finish this branching thing. I mean, I'm going to have to keep doing branching. I'm not going to know branching by the end of the 10 minutes, but, all right. So get status, and I don't know what I'm doing. Git branch. I'm on master. I'm going to fix my master problem. It's like, this is a fix to the master branch. Okay, great. So I'm going to get, I'm not pushing or tagging or anything yet. So I'm going to do git status to C. I'm going to git add my changes, or just git add dot. Or git commit dash A would have done all of the same. Git status, git commit, whoops. Git commit. And all right, so then we do git commit, and we've got all this stuff here, and it says, okay, here's my thing. It's a bug fix for master, and I'm going to save that. And then what? Then I'm going to be doing git status. There shouldn't be anything here. If I do a git diff, There's nothing to show because it got committed. There's nothing to difference again. And there's, even if I did a git diff cached, it's not going to show me which is index/staged. Nothing to show because it's all been committed, and now it's in stage 3. In stage 4, my definition is already pushed, right? So I have 0, which is just working unstaged. I have staged or cached or indexed, whatever you want to call it. Then you have committed, which is what I have now, and then you have pushed. So that change is committed and not registering as anything new, because as far as this local repo is concerned, it's top level. But then the next level above that is it's been pushed. Git show, right? So git show is the way to see anything once it's hit level 3, according to my little thing here. Git commits or git add because it encourages committing things without reviewing the changes. I agree with that. And I completely agree. I'm a big git commit without -m as well, because it additionally shows you, hey, there might be something in there that you didn't count on, and you don't have to go, amend the commit or something. But in short, the takeaway for me on today, one of the biggest takeaways is use your staging area better. Because I have been living in state working and committed. That's how I've been working up to now. And I think the biggest takeaway for me for today is learning to use the staging area, because the staging area is easier to use. It saves your ass when you do something to the working space by being able to pull down something from cached, but it's not an all the way committed, and it's not an all the way pushed. There's a former Rob I'm embarrassed to admit existed, who lived in 2 states, pushed or working. That was it, and that's like not a good idea. That's fine if you're doing readme files and shit like that, but that is not how Git works, and you should not do that. I should not do that. So personally, I never use Git. Oh, yeah, we talked about it. All right, so here's my so show shows me my change, and we had a thing. Okay, so that shows me what's coming up. I'm curious. It's kind of a spoiler here, but once I push, is git show going to still do it, or is it also going to kind of be empty, and then it's going to be a git log kind of idea, right? I have a feeling that's the end of the movie. that like when you do a git show, that you get, git show shows you what's the commits that you have there. Yeah, head to master, right? But those have not yet been pushed, and then when you push, it doesn't show that anymore. Git show is head. Okay. So that's always going to work even after a push, and it's always going to show the same thing, the most recent commit, right? All right. I gotta do this. Git status. Nothing here to see. No, nothing special. We have the show. So let's go back to working on the branch. The ref log is for previous actions, I think. Ooh, that's something we want to look at. Well, I kind of want to find a way to show everything that has not been pushed yet. And I don't know about that. It seems to me like that Git would probably have some memory of when something was pushed. It's where head used to be, right? So I don't know about that yet. I'm kind of jumping the gun here, but I feel like being able to diff. You know how we've been doing git diffs on everything? We've been doing git diff, and then we've been doing git diff cached, which just changes it against the 2 states, working and cached. And then we do git diff without cached, which changes it. What's the difference between working and that last commit? But I feel like there should be a diff that's like, what's the difference between what I have in my working copy or what I have in my local repo and what's up on site? And I'm sure there's something that does that, but I don't know what it is yet. That would be the last sort of thing to see. You'll be able to get a sense of, did I push this or not? I mean, that's a question I constantly ask. Have I pushed this or not? And you can't just do git status with that because it's git log. I think git log is the one, because we talked about git status, git show, git log being kind of the progressive C shit commands. And I think that's probably, I'm going ahead of myself though. So yeah, let's do that. Git status will say you are 2 ahead of remote. That is true. But I don't have a remote right now. So that's why I'm not seeing it. Thank you for that. Thank you for that insight. Because we haven't got to that part yet in this particular tutorial, I would have seen that had I been doing my normal process, and that would answer that question. Thank you for that. That's exactly what that is. That's exactly what's up. That tells you where you're. That is great. Do you have to? That's because you don't get that until you're committed, right? Another reason to learn to use your staged cache / index space, because that stuff's kind of like, it's kind of like your loosey-goosey thing that you're working with, is saving your ass, but also getting ready for a commit without, that sort of heavier transaction of making a commit and then amending the shit out of a commit. Here's another thing that I was doing wrong. I'm going to tell you what I was doing wrong. I was committing things and I was like, I'm really good because I haven't pushed my commits. I was a fool. I'm really good because I haven't pushed my commits, because I kept my commits local. So now I can amend the shit out of my commits as I go along. That is totally stupid. If that's somebody who doesn't understand the staging area, and that was me like a week ago, yesterday. So I'm starting to understand what to do. I'm starting to understand what to do with my staging area. The staging area is your best friend, and nobody knows how to use it when they start. I mean, let's be real. When you're at stage 1, 2, or 3, you are not using your staging area properly. Most of the time, from my experience. Now, I'm not just justifying my own failures. I'm observing other people who come to Git for the first time, and they don't do that. It's either pushed or it's in working state. And then when they get it, they're like, it's either committed or it's in working state, or it's working, committed, pushed. They completely ignore the staging part of the whole equation. And my eyes are fully open now, I feel like. So I'm glad we've had this moment. I am going to go ahead and hold myself to my own rules, and I'm going to go ahead and drop the stream for at least an hour or so. But I feel like this has been really eye-opening. I also feel like it's important to take a break from your learning. You read, write, execute, and exercise, RWX, and then you kind of step away and take a bath and write some notes and let it digest. Let it kind of simmer and let all those cognitive knowledge juices like cross-pollinate in your brain and make some beautiful sauce of new learning. I just made that up. It's fun. I love learning. Is fun, people. Learning is fun. Learning is fun. Learning is fun. I'm sure Lunix Torvello has legitimate arguments. WRT gets level of obfuscation 1,000 commands with 1,000,000 switches. Yeah, and I would like for it to not be that way, but unfortunately it is. I heard being you on the final push code. Yes, it is. And I still have stashed code, so we're gonna do another oh shit moment when I come back. It's like, oh shit, I have a bunch of stashed stuff here I forgot about. It's like the equivalent of putting something in the drawer, a project in the drawer that you were working on, and realizing you just redid the whole thing. Like, oh shit, I have the whole project done in the drawer here. I learned I needed to start using staging. I totally did too. So that's my takeaway. And this just comes through experimentation. RWX, people. All right, I'm gonna go. Bye.